Hello and welcome to Final Show Films. Before you enjoy the following production, there's just a few things I'd like to get out of the way first. Starting off, I'd like to thank all of our Patreon supporters, especially our $25 tier supporters, Antitonic, Cat, Waterflame, and Samantha Bates. If you'd like to support us, you can do so on our Patreon, patreon.com/fsfilms, as well as by following me on Twitter @JohnnyBates, following and subscribing to us on Twitch, twitch.tv/Senstaku, on YouTube, youtube.com/Senstaku, and on any of our podcast feeds, links to which you can find on my Twitter account. Thank you once again for tuning in, and I hope you have a good time. Bye.
Communist druid. I was so close. I was so close to playing a character that you would not approve of.
Trapped. All right, and with that statement, let us begin. Hello, everybody. We apologize. Some stuff was thrown together at the last minute. There were some communication errors, aka I'm bad at communicating. This is
Blame Austin.
generally that's a safe thing to do.
I really like this table, by the way.
I like that I can be seen at it.
Yeah, it's nice.
Isn't it wonderful?
It's a table of a reasonable height.
So,
Welcome back, by the way, John.
Thank you.
yes, we are finally.
We were John again.
Our taco has returned.
I have
We are
a
not
kid.
sans tacos.
Yes. Yeah, the second.
He's a taco?
I have a second child now.
So, when last we left off, a long time ago.
Long time ago.
In a galaxy far, far away.
So,
Technically.
Naboo was under an attack.
Untethered. Last time, we had our group of intrepid adventurers. I won't call them heroes per se, but they were certainly intrepid adventurers.
Hey, we have at least one hero in this party.
But heroes.
You also have at least one villain.
Yeah. One anti.
We have one hero, one anti-hero, and one person that doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
And then two people who depends on the day of the week.
And me.
And yes, and Tuesday.
The new kid in the block.
And not just one person. Rudy also does not.
Yeah, that's fair. Rudy also does not give a shit.
All right.
We have two people that don't give a shit and have bonded over their lack of giving a shit.
So, they joined together in a world, discovered the scheme of the Emperor to cast a spell called World Fire to destroy all life as they knew it. As they continued on their journey, they discovered that the Emperor was, surprise, merely a puppet, and that the spell World Fire was not a spell to create fire, but to bring a being of immeasurable power called an Ethivore from another world of existence into this one. Discovering this, they also discovered their own latent powers as being untethered, which means that they can move beyond the world that they're from. In order to help combat this threat that has now entered their world, they are exploring other worlds in order to help understand the rules of traveling worlds and how to stop whatever it is that's traveling into theirs. And the first place they have gone is a quaint little place called Earth.
Quaint.
And we will pick up with the first member to
Of the DK crew.
Yes.
Oh, the DK crew.
Galadir, how does it feel to be Donkey Kong?
Donkey Kong. Yeah, it's good. It's good. Give me my steroid bananas.
I mean, given your lifestyle, you've probably seen some stuff like that before.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh,
Don't know if you've partaken, but you've definitely seen people
I mean, you have to
be like,
experiment.
if we shove this into a banana, that makes it healthy, right?
Exactly. The banana counteracts all the negative effects.
So introduce yourself. What do you look like? Who are you?
So this version of Galadir is a sort of a mid to late 30s, dressed in biker leathers roadie, with sort of leather jacket that has the various metal spike accoutrement, leather pants, side bag because it's way easier than carrying a wallet and harder to steal. Long black hair that just sort of tends to flow loosely with his bangs tied back into into like a semi ponytail, kind of like this. Has this sort of, has a goth rock vibe because most of the people that he has done roadie work for have been somewhere on the line of goth rock, metal, death metal, black metal. He has a very specific theme of people that he does work for. So in that theme of people, he dresses accordingly.
Dress to impress.
Yes, you dress for the job you want. And the job that he wants is keeping cracked up fangirls out of the back room so they don't accidentally stab the entertainment people that write his paycheck.
Or intentionally stabbed, depending on the
Or
fangirls.
intentionally stabbed, depending on the girl. Yeah, there's it's a wild and crazy and hectic life full of drugs, sex, and partying, and he's acquainted to it.
In a very cold, analytical fashion.
Yeah, I mean, well, you have to. You reach a certain point.
Outside of it,
Yeah, you reach a certain point where you sort of elevate yourself to a newer plane of existence, and that's sort of where he's at. He's like this existential plane above all of the sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
So, you're doing what you do. You're performing in a fairly small place, and the individual who's putting on the show is known for their lavish taste in set pieces. And as what happens when you're in a small theater with lavish set pieces,
Flaming Skullfuckers really like their set pieces. It's really
they really do. And to put that much pyrotechnics into every single set they perform on, sometimes they pull them backstage, and what they do is they hoist them up on cables about 3 to 4 meters off the ground, because there's not enough space in the wings at certain venues.
No.
Pretty standard practice. Well, one day, this is occurring. You're back in the wings. Not a lot going on right now. There's explosions going on stage, fire. You're not sure if it's malfunctioning or not, but the crowd's liking it, and no person is on fire yet. So
my job is working fine.
Yeah, it works. When you hear a snap, and it's not coming from on stage, and in that moment, you look up and you see, descending upon you, a giant pyrotechnic skull on a Viking ship.
That's not good.
And it's, like it would, falling. What's your immediate reaction to something that probably weighs about 1,500 pounds and is full of pyrotechnics falling on your head?
Interestingly, the first thing is I wonder what the chalk outline will look like.
So that thought goes through your head. And something else goes through your head. You had time to think that. It's still falling. Now what do you do?
Either catch it or move.
I step to the right while watching it.
You start casually
walk
to
out
the right
of the way
as this thing falls, and you watch it fall. Go ahead and roll me alertness perception.
What's the target number?
6 average.
2 successes.
You notice that at this point, one of the people backstage has noticed and is turning their head, and they are also moving at a speed that seems far too slow for the emotion that's drawing along their face. As you step out away from the falling Viking ship, it hits the ground with an rather impressive explosion before making its way on stage in a manner that, while not intentional, was certainly grandiose.
Is time still flowing weird?
No, things return to normal. And the man runs over and looks at you. And then looks at you, and then you look in his eyes. This man is on it. It is everything.
Yeah. I reach into my bag and pull out a bottle of vodka and just hand it to him.
He
Pat him on the
staggers
back.
off, muttering a series of obscenities under his breath.
Yeah. Pat him on the back. go to investigate whether or not the pyrotechnic is killing anybody else?
No, it appears to have something jostled. It sputtered. It's supposed to roll, and it just started rolling, and it rolled right off the other side and into a wall. And thankfully, these things are well designed to not explode.
Cool. Next, I check my own pulse because I didn't think I had taken anything today.
Aside from the copious amount of secondhand smoke, no.
Okay.
I mean, they don't smoke the strong stuff, so it can't be that.
Intriguing. I pull out my pocket watch and see if it's still ticking.
It's still ticking normally. You mutter intriguing. You can't actually hear it because,
Yeah, like, I mutter intriguing. I understand that I muttered it. I can't hear it, though.
No.
You feel it go through your skull. Everything else is drowning it out.
There's lots of skulls for things to go through right now.
It's true. That's why they're called the Flaming Skull Fuckers.
The lead singer at this point has dropped his pants and is unfortunately...
Yeah.
He's had one too many was like...
They didn't
9 this morning.
They didn't come up with that name. Okay, well, I'm going to continue doing my work while I'm puzzling over the fact that time is apparently being weird and I'm not on drugs. Which is a
you
first.
continue to be the only person not on drugs at the venue.
There has to be at least one. I've become the DD.
That's honestly why you keep getting hired, because everyone at first thinks you're a killjoy, and then afterwards they realize that you probably have prevented more casualties than any police officer in the area.
No, bro, I'm not a I have been where you're at, and I'm now past it, so I know what needs to be done to make sure you get past it, too.
Yeah. Show finishes up. Relatively minimal amount of damage to the set pieces. Only 2 guitars got smashed. Only one of them was intentional.
Cool. That's good. That's actually that's better than normal.
That's pretty good. And it wasn't. Neither of them were the expensive actual guitars that they play for playing. They were both meant to be broken.
Yeah, it's just one was smashed and the other was tripped over.
Trip is generous when you're driving a skull that shoots fire.
I mean, yeah, but
you can trip a vehicle.
Yes, but when the vehicle then breathes fire into the floor after stumbling over it.
Yeah.
The incidents occurred.
Yes. Thankfully, the skull itself rolls pretty well, so it just sort of like rolled off stage,
Yeah.
and the person was curled up inside it enough that they just took the ride. And they're fine.
Where are we at, by the way? Because I suddenly realized that I'm not sure where this concert is.
You are primarily out of Italy, but you had a pretty good deal with this group. They're growing in popularity, and you are in Sweden.
Okay, we're in Sweden right now. That's fine.
You're not at Oslo yet. That's where the tour ends.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Oslo's in Norway, isn't it?
It is.
Oop.
Well, you're traveling through Sweden to get to Norway.
Stockholm is in Sweden.
Thank you. You're just outside of Stockholm.
Got it.
I recognized I was wrong. I'm going to take that victory.
Got it. I'm heading to Stockholm. Right.
So
Well, that was fucked.
the night finishes, and by night I mean early morning.
The evening
Yes.
of the event.
The event finishes. It's about 2 a.m. by the time that they're done, and everyone's cleared out.
Okay. I will go about my... I'm going to go back to the spot where I thought I was going to become a chalk outline.
Yeah.
And sort of look up and around and see if there's anything weird there.
No. Now that everything's being loaded up onto the semis for transport, it's been mostly cleared out by this point. There's a snapped cable, like you would expect, and there's really nothing else here. The haze is cleared out. They've moved enough stuff now to clear out the haze of the variety of smokes.
Yeah.
Both fog machine and tobacco and marijuana.
Just sort of stand. I'm just going to stand there for a while before I need to go do anything else, and pull out a regular cigarette, and just put it in my mouth, light it, and stare up at the snapped cable for a while.
You trying to investigate, or are you just kind of looking at it?
Yeah,
intrigued?
I'll investigate.
Sure. What investigative ability would you want to use for that?
Investigation?
Sure. Investigation in intelligence
Or perception, either one.
Are you trying to puzzle out how the cable snapped, or are you just...
Yeah.
That's probably going to be more intelligence, because you can see the cable.
Okay. What target number?
Let's go 6. It's pretty average.
Success, 2 successes. One of them's a 10.
It explodes.
It does. That's right. It does explode this. 2 successes.
All right. You look at the cable. It doesn't. It's not a clean cut that you would suspect of somebody having messed with it or tampered with it. Roll me awareness.
Well, so was it just like awareness of what?
Awareness and this time perception.
Okay. Was it just like this cable was not graded for this level of weight, or 2 successes?
The cable was graded for the correct amount of weight. There's something off. But you don't know what it is. There's just something that senses as not right.
Can I get the cable? Can I unstring the cable and like get it down into my hand so I can look at it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that and see if anything else pops out to me.
No, nothing seems to be popping out at you. It's just this cable was graded for up to twice that weight easily. The
it looks
hook
like
is
it's snapped.
fine.
It doesn't look like it was cut.
No, it doesn't look like it was cut. It just... You're not... I mean, you work with cables all the time. You're familiar with a cable wearing.
Yeah.
And this cable looks like it snapped from wear, but it doesn't look worn.
I'm just sort of sitting there, like, I like looking at it, just trying to puzzle out, wishing I could reverse time or something and see if I could see what happened when it broke.
What spheres do you got?
Time. I have 2 dots in time, 3 dots in forces, 2 dots in correspondent, 1 dot in prime, and 3 arte.
How do you have 8 spheres?
Freebie points.
Oh.
You get 1 freebie point for
That's right.
for your sect.
No, that's... You have to spend a point.
No,
for your
you
set.
get 1 point automatically in one of your things.
No, you get 6 points, but one of them has to be spent on your sect.
Oh, well then,
Yeah, that's M20.
yeah.
You get six base spheres. And
I
you can
believe
spend
I also-
seven,
I
you
believe
spend
I-
7 freebie
I
points
believe
on
I
it.
also spent 7 freebie points on it because I have this on my. I know the
Yes,
sphere's the only thing I
so
can
you have
remember. Yeah. No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so I'm up 1. Okay.
But to be fair,
I'll
you
look.
read through your character. Anyway,
Yeah.
you're trying to perceive something in time,
I'll read.
and you've got Prime, right?
Yeah.
So yes, Prime will come into this in a way that doesn't make sense to you, but
Okay.
will make sense to you after.
So Arte, time, and prime.
Which one's higher?
Time.
Arte and time then.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm trying. What's the difficulty on this?
You don't have any sort of focus, so it's going to be a 7.
Okay. No successes.
Okay. There's something wrong with it, and you'd have no ability to decipher.
Actually, can I spend a quintessence to reroll?
Sure.
Yeah. Because I have that. I have to roll everything, doesn't it? Or is it? How does quintessence work? Let's.
Quintessence. You can spend quintessence to lower the difficulty of something,
Oh, that's right.
and then you can spend a willpower to get a free success. But I
Yeah.
believe you can do that
I
pre-roll.
think you start with 1.
If I spend 2 quintessence to lower it to 5, I had 2 successes.
You have to do that pre-rolling though.
Okay, never mind then. Never mind then. I go.
So.
Remembering how quintessence works. Alright.
So. You can't figure anything about it. Do you keep observing it, or are you...
I mean, I can't... There's nothing else I can find out about the cables, so I'll just go about cleaning up in this area.
Okay. You clean up. It's probably another hour to finally get the rest out of here. You've made... Also, to kind of just keep in contact, make sure that everybody's gone back to wherever they're staying.
Yeah. Make sure people get where they need to go.
Yeah. Do you stay in one of the buses, or are you staying in a hotel?
I'm in a hotel.
Okay.
I can afford a hotel.
All right. You return to your hotel, and you fall asleep, and you wake up earlier than most members of the band, but not early by most people's standards at 11 o'clock in the morning. To a knock on your door.
Well, if they're knocking on my door at 11 o'clock in the morning, they get me sans pants. I open the door without putting clothes on.
There's a man standing there, and he's wearing a, full suit. Crisp, clean, sharp, broad-shouldered man, jet black hair, brown, almost black eyes, firm jaw. This guy looks like the highest class of muscle.
I look down at my completely nude and fairly heavily scarred body. Look back up. One of us is underdressed.
So, he says in a voice that seems far too common for someone as well dressed as that. Nice show, I hear.
That's alright.
I suppose the Viking longboat with the flaming skull was not supposed to come on at that time.
No, it wasn't.
Care to tell me what happened?
Cable snapped.
Really now. Cable just snapped.
That's what it looked like.
No one was hurt, I hope.
Nope. Well, not by it directly. There might have been some emotional damage, but I really can't qualify what happened with the crowd.
We're just trying to figure out what went wrong, you see. And we would love to know if there's anything that you could enlighten us on.
What do you guys like? The whatever this city's equivalent of FBI is?
We don't associate by cities.
I didn't know Sweden had this intensive of a...
This guy is not Swedish at all.
That's what I was thinking, but I'm going with the bit. Just to see what other bits of information I can get out of him.
Okay, just make sure you're aware.
Yeah. I didn't know Sweden had this intensive of a local investigation team.
I'm not Swedish. By the way, he's speaking to you. Do you speak English, I presume?
Yeah.
Speaking to you in English.
Okay. English and Italian, I'll answer whatever he calls
Look,
out.
I'm more intrigued by a sense I got. Did anything seem odd to you?
I mean, yeah. The cable was worn without being worn, and then when the thing fell, it fell a lot slower than it should have.
So you perceived it falling slowly. Something like this, he says, pulling out a ball. He drops it. It falls to the ground at about the same speed that boat was falling. It takes it a full 2 seconds to reach the ground from him dropping it.
Yeah, just like that.
Oh, we can compute the constant of gravity from that.
Yeah.
As long as he knows man's height.
Yeah, no, I
He's
know.
about 6 foot even. The ball slowly bounces up and he catches it as it returns. Now, do you have an idea how something like that could happen?
I mean, several, but I wasn't on any of those. Now or then, so I'm very confused.
Come with me. I have some friends you'd like to meet.
Put the pants on first.
I mean, he seemed to make it imperative of it now, so... No, I will grab some pants. I will grab some clothes first.
He will stand at the door. Do you close the door?
Nope.
He stands at the door. Watching you dress.
Because public indecency laws begin when I step out the doors, so.
Yes. Right now it's his problem.
Just picture people passing these hotel rooms.
Oh, yeah.
Of their own.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, when you are inside your property or whatever you are leased to run, you are able to
It is
wherever you like.
Sweden. I mean, come on.
I mean, there's that, too.
It doesn't take you long. And he walks you down.
Getting my red gem necklace and put it on. And
Flash forward. Over the course of the next 3 years, you learned a lot. Mathematically, philosophically, scientifically, about exactly what did happen there. You... how much of a networker are you?
I'm a roadie.
That's what they do.
It's kind of our job.
You find yourself... Your tour correlates excellently to meet up with other people who have the art, as you learn it to be called. Or what do the Hermetics call it?
I don't know.
Most people call it the art, but I think the Hermetics specifically have a different name for it.
Go on,
We'll call it the art. Who know the art. And you research it. How devoted are you to the research of this magic?
So devoted that I have a dot in research.
Okay. So as you do so, you're being a roadie becomes an easy way to travel, to continue moving, and, it's a good release at times. And over the course of your research, there's always something in the back of your head, some familiarity. And then, as you're networking, you come across a name. Gilda. Gilda Smith. And it just tricks something in your head. Like you've heard that name before. But you can't remember where. You do, as for the research, you find out she lives on an island called Saipan, the Northern Mariana Islands, in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, in the middle of nowhere. Something in your head insists that you must know her somehow.
Well, I mean, I've got enough money. I'll fly out there.
Okay. No excuses or anything, just be like, oh, wait till this tour ends.
Yeah.
Alright. And you fly out.
Another benefit of being a roadie, you kind of work your own hours.
Yeah. At least once you get established.
Yeah.
So, joining us next. Father.
Uh-oh.
Alright, Duncan.
I don't see it in their order page at the very least.
Once upon a time, in a
Small
village,
Yeah, okay.
you, the Congo, right?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Small village in the
Somewhere outside,
Congo.
Yeah.
You, like several other teenagers, are hard at work, getting water, working the fields, hunting animals, home repairs, whatever needs to be done. When a man runs back to the town, Hurley begins speaking. A cry goes out. The local militia is raised. Everybody grabs what weapons they have. There's a stockpile of guns. Some of you have machetes, whatever's left. All that you can find on hand is a Bowie knife.
Okay.
That you've been using to work the fields. You grab it, and in the distance you see a group of jeeps. Some local warlord has decided that this is their land now, and all you can do is defend yourself. Well, you're a small village of people who aren't militaristic. And the proper militia, as it were, gets mowed down almost immediately. What do you do as you see this impending doom heading towards you?
try to hide out a little bit. Just try to, if most of everybody's getting mowed down, I'm just gonna try to find a place to hide out.
Okay.
Initially.
There's a crawl space under one of the huts you know about.
Mm-hmm.
One of the guys uses it to keep a little bit of extra that he doesn't share with the rest of the village. And you knew about it, and, occasionally he'd split it with you, so you wouldn't tell anyone else. Right now, though, it's a really convenient hidey hole, and you shimmy yourself, your massive self, into this hidey hole.
Okay.
The next 30 minutes are tense. You can't see anything from here, but you can hear people running around, issuing commands, getting what they can. It sounds like a lot of the people came out. They're recruiting from this village.
I see.
Yep. Well, you hear the sounds of footsteps in the house above you. And then you hear someone say, "These floorboards sound hollow." You hear them prying at the floorboards, trying to pull them up.
I try to sneak out the way I came in.
Alright. You sneak out. Unfortunately, you have to do so feet first because of the way you got yourself in there.
Right. Okay.
And you stand up to a pair of men. With
Only two?
Yeah.
Good.
With AKs.
One for each hand.
They spin to shoot you.
Okay.
Point blank.
Whatever reaction, just let's see. They're both on either side of me, or are they in front of me, or? I'm gonna move out of the way of one of them and try to.
They're on opposite sides of you.
Opposite sides.
It looks like they were just walking by the house at the time.
Okay. I'm just gonna pick one of them and try to get on the other, get around behind him while I'm doing some kind of a grab.
Roll me. What
to keep his
combat
weapon.
skill do you have?
Combat.
Give me like brawl or martial arts.
I got brawl and martial arts.
Okay. Pick whichever you want, and
Okay.
you're trying to manhandle this guy into your way.
Yeah. I'm just gonna try to get one of them in front of the others.
Human
Okay.
shield.
So
Yeah,
grappling,
as human
you
shield.
use strength.
Grappling. Yeah. Use strength.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Difficulty 6.
6. 1, 2, 3. I said something about tens. If I got it.
If you get a 10, you can roll it again for another success.
Okay. So that's 3. Okay, only 3.
This guy has... You grab him and you... Like, this guy's probably a full head shorter than you. You spin him around and, like, he flies off the ground far enough that his feet hit the other guy and knock him into the hut.
Okay.
Hey, you also accidentally snap his neck.
Oh well.
You thought you had him by the shoulders, you had him by the head. There was a loud snapping noise. He botched his roll to defend himself.
Okay.
He wasn't important enough to have more than one health level.
Nah.
At that point, I'll just go after the other guy. I'm just trying to.
That would have been
Stick him.
That would have been 2 health levels of damage. Or
Anyway.
so plus the dodge.
You tackled the other guy, and unfortunately, the man got his gun off. It didn't hit you, but you now have a horde of
Everybody's showing up.
everybody showing up. The next 10 minutes is a bit of a blur, but you come to bloody all over. And it's hard to tell what of it is yours and what of it is the entire platoon of people who have been slaughtered before you.
They basically cut, shot, and everything else, or just.
Well, you have an AK, or what? I don't know. Do you know guns, William?
Yes, yeah.
yeah, what are you
AK-47
looking
is
for?
common.
AK-47 is a very common African tool, like among
Cool.
most warrior states.
Yeah, that would be
AK-47.
So you got you have an AK under one arm and that Bowie knife in your hand, and
Okay.
there's about 20 people dead around you.
Okay.
Now, you know a couple things. You know that is not odds that anybody does in real life. You don't fight 20 people with guns.
Samurai do it all the time, but
They lose.
Yeah.
Congratulations, you got promoted to action movie hero.
You need to watch the Tom Cruise movie.
right. Well,
Ones like that.
What
What
skills
else?
do you have?
skills.
You also find
Let's rephrase. People can fight people with 20 people with guns. They don't win against people
that.
with
That
20
might be a
guns.
more accurate phrase. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You also have bullet dents in you.
Dents.
Yeah.
Okay, so like little. Okay.
Like little bruises and some cuts and some abrasions where bullets,
You are apparently Bushwhackers.
fired at point blank range hit
Okay.
you and didn't instantly kill you like they should have. And everybody's run away. Both people that you've known for years and otherwise, because
It's just the way it is.
yeah.
I see. Okay.
You notice that several of these military compatriots have also fled in their jeeps. You can make assumptions that there will be reinforcements.
Yeah. I really don't have anything else to stick around for at this point.
No.
So yeah. Run through a few huts, pick up a couple of things, and get out.
Yeah. Thankfully, there were a couple leftover jeeps. You grab one and you drive. Drive till you hit the water, basically.
Yeah.
You have enough provisions to refuel this thing a few times on the way over, and you manage to get somewhere with an airport. Well, you've heard a lot of great things about this country called the United States of America, but you've also heard that they really, really don't like foreigners there, and that it's hard to get paperwork.
Yeah.
So
I figured that out.
you find this this convenient thing about these territories that the U.S. owns, but doesn't really care about, and you find passage to a little island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean called Saipan.
How fun. Okay.
Once you're there, you need to establish a living.
Yes.
And right at that time, the Imperial Pacific Casino is hiring bouncers.
I can bounce.
You can bounce.
Other people can bounce.
Yeah, things can bounce off of you.
Okay. So I sign up.
You sign up. You start with the night shift, but they pretty quickly realize your potential. You seem to have a way of diffusing situations. You find yourself to be the only, giant person of your ethnicity on this island. And
Yeah.
it adds to your intimidation factor. You need to look up the census for Saipan. It's hilarious. It's
2% other.
no, 0.02% other.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Even smaller.
So, yeah.
The island black guy, basically.
I'm a local.
I'm the only Italian.
Yeah, you're the only Italian.
I am one of many, many Japanese.
After a lot of work, you work your way up, and you eventually get to be a security consultant there. You've also learned to work with more than just your physique. You've learned to use all your senses and to really work off the adrenaline rush you get from a good fight. Not that you get many good fights.
No.
Most of
They
them
don't
tend
last
to
very long
begin
anyway.
and end with, "What are you doing?"
Yeah. Okay.
So, It's been about 10 years. You've established yourself. The locals respect you. You know, you have some friends. And one day, you get a letter slipped to you as a patron is leaving the casino. What do you do with it?
Okay. Just stick it in my pocket until the end of the shift.
Okay. You work till you're at the end of your shift. As you're leaving, there's a young girl, Elizabeth, takes over your shift. She's freakishly large. She's almost as big as you are. She's like 6'2", and she probably weighs about 250 pounds. And you've known her for a while. She started working here when she was 12 because she lied about her age massively and was able to pass for 20.
Okay.
So, you know, she does a pretty good job.
Pass forth, the boss didn't care.
You know, labor laws were kind of non-existent at the time. They've had a crackdown since, but she's 17 now, so.
Okay.
As you walk out, you check the letter, or do you wait till you get home?
I'll wait till I get home.
All right. You go back to what kind of person are you? Do you have like a bare essentials?
Yeah, pretty much.
You live in the capital district where you work, or do you live in the locals area?
I live near where I work at least.
Okay. You have a little condo in the capital district. Nothing fancy, but place to call home.
Yeah.
What's your resources? Oh, you
Not
haven't
much.
distributed that yet. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll worry about that later. You open the letter. We see what you do. We know how much they like to pay. We're offering double your yearly salary for one night work.
Hear the sound for one night work?
And then it's got double your yearly salary.
Okay.
You get paid
Yeah.
decent, but
Right. Okay.
there's not a lot of money for natives of Saipan, so you know.
Right.
This is a chunk of change they're offering. And there's a crudely drawn there's a printed map, and there's some crudely drawn directions to an alley in the Dan district.
That sounds official.
It is. It's an actual district.
I know, but I mean,
As far as meeting in an alley.
no, meeting in an alley.
Meeting
I mean,
in an alley. Yeah.
There's no doorway in the alley. It's just the alley. Okay, sure. What the heck? I got nothing to lose but somebody else.
Come meet me in this dark alley. We'll pay you lots of money, we promise.
I take nothing but my trench coat and my knife. If they want to rob me, that's their problem.
All right. You figure life's getting boring.
Yeah. I might have to call in sick tomorrow, but
You may have an exaggerated sense of what you can take. You know, just maybe.
Maybe it's not exaggerated at all.
Maybe it's not exaggerated. And you go to meet them.
Okay.
We'll return to you in just a second.
Got it.
All right, Zachary. So, Itarasu.
Well, actually, his first name's different in this world because, you know.
Yeah. He's Californian.
Yes.
So what's your name?
So.
I'm listening.
So yeah, now my first name is David instead.
David.
But yeah,
David Tarasi.
born of immigrants. But yeah, because
Dave Tarasu!
From accounting.
he's not hugely fond of it. His parents intentionally chose something boring so he would fit in.
Dave Tarasu.
Yes.
I mean, when your last name's Tarasu, I mean...
I love it. No, I love it. Dave Tarasu from accounting.
So there's a reason but why he either goes as David or Dr. Tarasu. Very rarely will he ever combine elements of those.
Dr. Tarasu.
So what do you look like, Dave Tarasu?
So good! It's such a good name.
It was between Paul and Dave, but you know.
No, I think Dave Tarasu is so much better.
So, Dave Tarasu, what do you look like?
So, he's, you know, Japanese American, and by Japanese American I mean he lives in America, but he's pretty much, born of Japanese immigrants. So
Okay, so your parents were born in Japan. You were born in California.
yeah,
Second generation.
yeah. So he's very tall. He's not unreasonably tall, but 6'7". So somewhat unreasonably tall.
That's unreasonably tall.
For Japanese,
You're as tall as the person sitting next to you.
You know my brothers. I have
They are unreasonably tall.
Rudy's
he's
also
unreasonably
6'7".
He is also unreasonably tall.
You know, if everyone else is unreasonably tall, you
No.
might be unreasonably
No!
short.
You guys are the outliers. Not me, unfortunately.
Not what it sounds like from here.
Midget with these people.
So, Dave Tarasu.
Height in America is between 5'11 and 6 foot for men. You guys are.
It's actually between 5'8" and 5'11".
There you go.
So you've gotten through med school. It was rough, but you have some raw determination. And I mean, your parents both being doctors, and with that Japanese work ethic,
Yeah.
there wasn't a lot of choice in it for you. But you got by.
I like helping people,
One day, you're out at a restaurant, like you do, and an elderly man grabs his chest and falls to the floor, and you hear the classic, "Is there a doctor in the house?"
So immediately.
You Superman stand.
Did someone call
So
for Dr.
immediately, I rush over with this feeling of, finally, my time is here! And then I look at what's happening, and a sense of dread just pools everywhere, basically. I try to figure out what's going on.
So you look at this man.
Are you not a cardiologist?
He's not a very good student anyway.
We're
I'm
gonna
a
go
very
primary-
determined student.
We're going to
Yes.
go primary care, sort of,
Yeah.
general, internal medicine, I believe is what they call it.
Yeah.
So you look at this man. Go ahead and
not a
make me
cardiologist.
a immediate perception
I'm a doctor,
and
not the kind you're thinking.
Medicine?
yeah, perception medicine. Figure out
Cool.
what's wrong with this man.
Out of curiosity, how many dice is that?
That's 6 dice.
Oh, okay.
Okay, good.
Oh, and what's the target?
6.
That would be.
That's 1 success.
All right, it's not hard to tell. This man had a stroke.
Stroke.
It's pretty obvious. Like, one half of his face is paralyzed.
So why did he clench his chest? For a stroke?
Because Austin doesn't know what a stroke
I know what a stroke is.
Austin knows what
No,
a
he
stroke
does.
is. He just got his signs confused.
No,
I
he
didn't.
didn't. No, he just.
Oh no, I didn't.
No.
Okay.
So
Oh
There's a
boy.
bomb in his
Because
heart.
Because you. Yeah.
Because I rolled 1 die. That's why I got 1 success.
yeah, it's a stroke. This guy's face is odd, and he's holding in the way he's fallen. It's a stroke. He fell immediately. That's totally how strokes work.
I'm going to immediately point out to a random but specific person that's, I'm sure, a bystander for all this, and tell them
There's
to,
a lot of panic going on right now.
yeah, specifically addressed to one person to call 911.
All right.
Um,
He stumbles and pulls out his phone.
Okay, cool.
You lean down. You gonna give him a further look over?
Yeah.
Roll me.
Try to figure out what I can do here.
Okay, roll me intelligence and medicine now.
Oh boy.
Inside a lower dice pool.
Maybe.
But that is same target,
Yes.
same number of successes.
1 success. Wait a second. No, that's not a stroke. He wouldn't have fallen like that if it was a stroke. Maybe it's a heart attack? Maybe it's a heart attack. Okay, it's probably a heart attack.
All right. I'm going to try to think to do something. What can I do right now?
All right. You stare into this man's eyes.
Is it like
They're
does he have a pulse? Is he breathing?
oh yes, you check that. Okay. His chest is beating rhythmically. That's bad.
Yeah.
I mean, at least
Is
it's
it-
beating.
Well,
Wait.
it matters whether it's atrial or ventral, because if it's atrial,
He doesn't know
ventral.
that.
That'd be good.
He would know that if you told him the words. Identifying it with your bare hands
So,
with a 1.
irregular heartbeat, that's normally a defibrillator kind of situation that you would want.
Yeah,
in a
no,
cycle?
that sounds about right. Defibrillator.
So, there might be... Most buildings will have an AED, I imagine?
Yeah, in California, yes.
probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to see if there's some kind of a person that's an employee here and ask them, is there an AED here?
Let me get the manager.
It'll be a red sign that says AED.
He's already run off. Somebody else, though, looks around and is like, oh, it's right there.
Came up, it's like, oh.
Look to where he's pointing.
There is an AED unit on the wall. It's
I'm going to grab that.
You grab it. All right.
And,
Dexterity medicine to use the defibrillator properly.
Let's kill this man. Now we know why he's inside bed.
Yes.
This man is dead.
Where he rolls a botch and can't live.
how many? What's the target?
6.
You have to ask.
5 successes.
Hey, that's exceptional
Actually,
success.
yeah, no, you perfectly. You feel the heartbeat stop and start.
I see if it's starting to go back to regular.
It seems to be. Roll
And is he
me
breathing?
medicine and intelligence.
Gotcha. Ooh. And then 10s explode, right?
Yes.
Sweet. Four successes.
All right. So you know that the biggest problem here is that it took you a little bit to do all that because you had to stutter for a minute to realize you needed the defibrillator. The biggest danger right now is that beating irregularly can form clots in the blood, and also it was not oxygenating his blood properly. So there is danger of, now, that's why you were thinking stroke. The heartbeat goes irregularly, and then they have a stroke.
Huh.
Did you just induce a stroke in this man?
He saved the man's life, but,
Yeah, I need to save it again, maybe.
well,
You still need to go to the hospital.
yeah, he still needs to go to the hospital. The paramedics are on their way.
Keep an eye on his vitals and try to look like I know what I'm doing.
Okay.
If I look like I know what I'm doing, people stop panicking. At the very least, and that'll make it easier for EMTs to get through
Appearance
as well.
and expression. Unless you can think of a better ability for it.
No, that makes sense, and I've got decent dots in that.
Okay.
Same goal of 6,
Mm,
or what's the target?
5, because it's only a 5 because you carried yourself. You actually did a really good job with that defibrillator.
Okay, 2 successes.
All right. The people are still a little bit concerned, but they see that he's breathing. He may be a little bit shallow, but he's breathing. So they seem to be less panicked.
Mm-hmm. I continue to keep an eye on if his condition starts deteriorating.
All right. As you're watching, you notice that this his heartbeat is getting weaker.
Oh boy, that could mean that the muscles there are losing oxygen. That's what it could mean. I want to roll to see if there's anything else it could mean.
Sure.
Maybe? Sure, why not?
This medicine.
That was actually a really good roll. What's the...
6.
Okay. That's 5 successes, not bad.
Makes it worse. This guy's old. He's at least 70 years old. He's pretty overweight. He may have had heart problems before. This could be dozens of things. All it really means is that this man's condition is deteriorating, which means that stopping his heart and resetting it may have stopped something immediate from happening, but something is just wrong with his heart.
Keep hopefully waiting on EMTs to show
To
up.
fix his heart.
All right.
I want this to be fixed, but
Is this happening in California or Japan?
California.
Okay, he's got a chance.
what you think?
Samantha's hospital? No, he's dead.
Yeah. His pulse is getting weaker. It's been about
Do you
2
want
minutes.
it to be fixed hard enough?
You know that where you are, I mean, and depending on it's pretty busy traffic right now. You're in a downtown area near your university. It could take up to 5 minutes for an ambulance to get there.
Do I know which direction the nearest hospital's in then?
Oh yeah.
And chances are something would be
There's
dispatched from that.
if you went back to the university, it's outside of a working hospital,
Mm-hmm.
out of a teaching hospital too.
So in traffic, it's about 5 minutes away.
On foot, it's probably farther.
On foot, depending on how fast you try to sprint it. Is it mostly traffic that makes it take that long, or is it just mostly
It's mostly
distance?
traffic. It's honestly only about a mile.
You want to try to carry this
I can-
heart attack
No,
patient
20
slash
minutes.
dead person to a hospital?
A mile is.
Ah,
Well, no.
Can you run a
Yes,
mile in a
sir.
minute?
I
12.
said I can.
24.
No, I'm picturing
So the thing is, either you fix him here, but it's a cardiological issue that you have no
No,
scientific way of solving,
It'll only take you 2 minutes to get there if you're fast.
or you try to. If you can sprint at the speed of Usain Bolt, it would take you 2 minutes. However,
Yeah. Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
30
I know.
miles an hour. Yeah.
No. I mean,
I don't think he'd sprint at 30 miles an hour.
20.
Yes.
It's 27 or something.
It's 29 point something.
Yeah, it's almost
it's the
30.
fastest
It's the
recorded
fastest
human
recorded.
land speed
Gotcha.
by a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
But that's also
most
sprinting
Do
for
not,
12
do
seconds.
not underestimate how fast Usain Bolt runs.
28 miles per hour.
wow.
But that's also a 12-second sprint, not a 2 minute. Wow. Not a 2 minute run.
That is really fast.
Yeah,
I'm
it's ridiculously fast.
I cannot
You
run
do
that
that.
fast.
Speed of a car moving through a neighborhood.
Didn't he do that without shoes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. He did that barefoot.
But on a track.
Yeah, on a track, but
That's
still.
all right.
Still. So, what you gonna do?
if there's a bunch of traffic,
I mean, are you just trying to fix him here, or are you trying to take him back to the hospital?
I'm trying to just figure out what I can possibly do here.
Alright, as you stare into this man, you feel
If there's anything at all.
a pulse in your hand as you're checking, you're checking his pulse, and you feel a pulse in your hand that's not his pulse, and then his pulse speeds back up, and his eyes shoot open, and he starts coughing. And everyone in the room starts cheering.
Yay!
Does everything look fixed?
Yes. You help him sit up, and everyone starts cheering, and he seems fine.
I take a moment to just look over the situation.
Stopped a heart attack. Good work.
You're evaluating. The paramedics get there.
I give them a rundown of what just happened. That he
They-
just seems to have
They hook
spontaneously
onto a machine.
resolved itself.
There's no sign of damage here, says the paramedic. He hooks him up to an EKG. And they take him back to the hospital for further tests, but... No, he's fine looking here. Need to take you in for some observation, if that's all right. Nods, and they start taking him off, and she kind of looks at you funny as he walks off.
I sort of give a shrug.
I mean, he's a paramedic. He's seen enough weird stuff happen that he's not going to put too much thought to it, but this is definitely one of the weirder things he's seen. So you know that that's not how that works.
Yeah.
You don't get defibrillated and then you're fine.
Yeah.
No matter what the movies say.
No. You get defibrillated and then you're alive.
That's nice.
I look more into this and other documented cases of this happening.
You find a couple. What order are you?
Sons of Evil.
You, looking deeper, roll me research intelligence.
Research intelligence. There we go. And difficulty? I mean, the
7.
and 10s explode. That's 3 successes.
You find some unique stuff. You find an area of these miraculous machines that are supposed to fix ailments that aren't possible to fix. After doing some investigating, you find a group of people who begin to explain to you that reality is at best a suggestion, and that when mixed with science, this strange reality bending gets more and more blurry and can sort of do whatever. They show you machines that have no rational reason they should work, and yet they do. You find
Fascinating.
You find that you can do a lot more than you ought to be able to with certain tools. An IV drip of saline that somehow flushes viruses out of a system, which makes little to no sense. You learn that you can actually suck
I think you could sell that online.
You find a way to actually...
So they're snake oil peddlers that, actually have results to back them up.
Results to back them up. It's strange, and you'd question it more if it didn't save lives.
I feel like medical magic is the easiest thing to get away with.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, it looks like medicine to me.
Yeah.
It's snake oil.
You find yourself much more attuned to this sort of medicine than you ever were the collegiate kind. And you find yourself advancing your ways through the doctors pretty well at the local hospital, but I mean, you're outside a university in the middle of California. It's a well-stocked hospital as it is, and there's so many places that don't have this kind of machinery they do that could use some of the things that you've learned about. A member of your church is talking to you. In fact, they moved here from a place called Saipan, and she tells you how awful it was where she was, how the doctors were not trained, the hospital was not funded, they never had any of the stuff they needed. And you look into it, and you find that they're actually in the middle of bringing in some temporary doctors. Apparently, one of their doctors just moved off the island. And it was one of their only doctors who worked for the hospital who actually had full medical degree.
Oh, great. They could always use more of those, yeah. So,
Look, a place where they won't look twice at your snake oil.
Yeah. A place where you can make a difference, a place where it's needed, and a place where, you have free reign to kind of get away with whatever you want.
I need a saline drip for this man's infection.
Don't question me, I'm the doctor!
Yeah, you do notice that it's hard to use these machines here because everything in California is very regulated and very, very observed.
mm-hmm.
So, you find yourself on a plane to Saipan.
Yay.
You've worked there a couple weeks. Everything is completely different here. Mainly, you can get away with all these sorts of weird things and telling people some pseudoscience, and they just believe you and go with it and bring you whatever you need.
It's not pseudoscience if it works and I study it.
Sure.
It's science.
So yeah, about
People thought Newton was crazy too.
after you joined the hospital,
He was.
He was right.
Yes,
he was crazy.
but it worked. It worked.
the casualty rate at the hospital drops by 1/3 within a week of you working there.
Nice.
You find that not only is your magic more capable of helping people here, but you find that people here don't actually know any more about medicine than you do, which is concerning.
We're the genius in the group.
Oh my goodness.
Well, you know what?
No, there's two of us.
I meant at the hospital.
I still have
There you
high
go.
spheres in medicine.
Yeah, no, like you're not
How many
incompetent,
dots
but
intelligence?
you would expect somebody here to be better than you. You would expect the head doctor to be significantly better than you at this.
Yeah. Like,
But
I did get my medical degree. I was just, far from being top of the class.
yeah, you were average. And again,
Yeah.
there's plenty of average
One dot
people.
charisma.
But when the average is your best,
There's something wrong.
there's not a specialist to bring in.
Yeah.
So one day, you are now. Do you live in the upper class district, or do you live in the lower class area? Like, probably an apartment or something, I would presume.
Yeah, I live in an apartment. Just
Upper class, lower class area.
probably somewhere maybe on the verge between the two. I don't
Okay,
know.
so you live on the inner thoroughfare.
Yeah.
Since I
And-
couldn't have more than 4 dots.
I think
Something
you
nice
actually
will-
can have one.
One what?
I'm reading up here.
Okay,
What are you talking about?
so you're walking.
Starting attributes.
You can't have more than
No,
4.
You can't have more than 4 on one of your starting attributes.
That's
right?
correct.
Yeah, you can't have more than 4
Yeah,
characters.
I'm checking that.
You can use freebie points to get up to 5.
I think that was it.
You can use freebie points to get up to 5, but you can't have it on your initial dots
Yeah.
if you want to spend. But they're expensive on freebie points.
Yeah,
so
I'm just double
So
checking.
you're walking.
double check your math.
Yeah.
Did you bother to get a car or not? I mean, you can walk the entire island.
Yeah. As long as I can make my
Yeah,
commute, I'm fine.
I know I did the
Yeah.
math when I made the character sheet. I'm just double checking it
You
now. 'cause it's been a
you
while.
walk. You're walking down, and you hear a bit of a kerfuffle. You see a really big guy
Double check
walking down an alley.
Pretty certain you get one for free.
Wouldn't concern you at first, but then you hear a bit of a scuffle.
I want to make sure everything's okay.
All right. You look down the alley and you see Duncan here, and there's a man with a knife on the ground.
I mean, there's another man with a knife too. It's Duncan.
Well, Duncan didn't bother drawing the knife. He just punched
he's
the
too
man
much
straight
trouble.
out. The man's laying on the
That's not a
ground.
knife.
Is it just one guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of them.
Just
I'm just curious.
what? One random dude with a knife, and then this guy, and one of them's knocked unconscious.
Yes.
Yeah, the guy with the knife is knife on the ground. Oh well.
Hey, what's going on here?
Him.
What happened?
Well,
He happens.
so what happened when I showed up? This
You
guy
showed
tried
up.
to jump me.
This guy tried to jump you with a knife, and
I
you didn't
just-
even
I just
think. You just
reacted.
right in the
I
face.
just, yeah, it was.
Ooh, if there's a
It
fight,
was a boom, boom.
does my blessing center of the action apply here?
Hold on.
Yeah, so I just reacted to like a one-punch knockout.
Yeah,
type of
you,
thing. Okay.
you just he jumped and you used his momentum and you clocked him in the face, and
Yeah.
you realize that he got you a little bit on the arm with his knife, but it's not a bad
My
cut.
jacket. Dang.
I know how I had 8 dots.
Just looking at the guy that got knocked out. How's he looking right now?
You don't suspect any permanent damage.
Because I took
His eye is very swollen shut.
Is his skull broken?
You didn't hear a crack. It was more like a meaty thud.
Oh. Because I was thinking it may have changed to calcinite, and then got smashed, and then changed back to bone.
Were you going for that level of lethality?
I didn't know about it then. I'm not sure if I know that much about it yet.
You know a decent amount if you wanted to. If you wanted to, you could throw some magic into it.
If I
You want to throw me some matter and forces, so...
I don't want to hurt him that bad. This
Okay.
is just a reaction.
Yeah, no.
In my first reaction, I'm not going to. I'm not
just
going to kill anybody.
Put him on the floor.
I'll just put him on the floor. Okay.
He was not worth any more than that.
Yeah.
So he attacked
me.
you.
Yeah, with that thing.
What time is it?
It's you had a late shift at the hospital. You didn't want to leave.
Oh no, there's
because,
actually not an attributes limit. There's just an abilities limit.
You didn't want to leave because of how the hospital was going. There were a lot of people coming in. There has been a massive issue apparently around here with addiction to ice.
Yeah, great.
Oh boy, addictions.
It's in everything else, but it's not in this. It's on Mage.
No, there's definitely one.
I even looked directly in the attributes section and I couldn't find it, even though it's in the abilities section right after it. I cannot find any mention of a limitation on your starting attributes.
Well, there is no. There's a limitation of 4.
Well, I've already got this thing printed out, so.
Well, I mean, mine. I've got to bring in there.
Both of you roll me alertness perception, and you also roll me alertness perception.
What's the difficulty here?
Are those d20s?
Yeah, but I'm just
I know
ignoring
you
one.
want Okay. Difficulty 6.
So does a 6 count as a 1 or not?
6 is a success.
I have 1 success.
2.
4.
4. Nice.
You know, I picked my character from the other realm,
Oh yes, of course. You're
so I had to put that up there.
you're stupid. Let's get a plus 20 to spot a 5th edition character.
Exactly.
All right.
Makes sense to me.
You are walking down the street, and you hear a gunshot.
Gas.
And suddenly, all 3 of you hear a gunshot and loud, blaring music as someone is playing the Sex Pistols at a volume that is entirely too loud.
That's it all.
Yeah, no kidding. But like, is it
So,
farther down
hold on.
the alley?
How does damage work?
So damage depends on what it is.
Strength,
Weapons have a particular damage value that you roll, and successes on a 6 or better are successful damages.
Cool.
And then they can be opposed by armor rolls, which can suck. And it's your stamina plus armor, unless it does something to armor, in which case it's just stamina.
Okay. Cool. So go ahead and roll me stamina, Duncan.
Stamina?
Plus armor if you've got an armored jacket.
Oh.
How much does an armor jacket do? Because I assume you would.
Leather jacket's like 1.
So, yeah, stamina
Okay.
plus 1.
Alright.
Can you look up the spheres? Because I'm trying to find where they're at in character creation.
2.
So soak 2.
Alright. So you take 2 stages of damage, taking...
Which, if it's a gunshot, it's going to be lethal. Because we're just squishing meat people.
Yeah. So you're now injured.
Okay.
Someone shot you.
It'd be if it's
Hurt.
it'd be hurt. Because you
Oh, yeah,
mark
for
off
bruise.
the first,
Sorry.
and you mark off the second.
So you're hurt.
Right.
And you hear the blaring of the Sex Pistols. And so go ahead and let's roll some initiative.
So he's okay.
What's the initiative? Dexterity here, or
It's going to be
Dex and wits.
Dex wits.
Oh, okay.
It's actually a D10 plus. It's a D10 plus the total dots you have in dexterity and wits.
Are you actually rolling
so it's
1
actually
d10?
7.
So you roll 1d10 plus whatever that is.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And that's
I
your
need
number.
another,
Like for instance, and it's for instance,
Another.
for instance, if it was me, I got 3 dots
wait, you
in
only
dex and
rolled-
3
No, no.
dots in wits.
You roll a single D10, and then you add that number 2.
Oh,
That's the
okay.
only time you do it that way.
As an example, I've got 3 dots in dex and 3 dots in wits. I rolled a 4, which would make my initiative 10.
Okay.
I need to figure out where to move Akuma's fifth dot of manipulation.
I rolled a 10, and I have 3
Okay.
wits and 3 dexterity,
Maybe.
so I
Charisma?
did an initiative of 16.
Could have 4.
9.
Duncan?
Also, if you've got
15.
4 dots in ability,
I rolled
you
a
get
10.
specialization in it.
So what'd you get, Taylor?
Yeah.
So if
16.
you move that to,
All right.
you move that to charisma.
All right.
You get
So-
specialization in both.
You get.
Has my character been introduced to these?
Yeah,
not
you're
yet.
about to be.
Okay.
So you're walking down the other side of this alley. You got lost. You were here because you felt like this was where you're supposed to be. You heard about the gang violence and the crackdown, and you know that the police can't do this sort of thing. You know, this isn't a time for bureaucracy and crackdowns. And sure
Oh
enough,
no, is he a superhero?
you and just you always have this sense of where you need to be, and you got kind of lost heading back to your hotel, maybe a little bit. But hey, gunfire!
And I rush into the alley, and as a frequent performer in Renaissance festivals, it's my only real job when I'm not, hoboing around the world where I need to be. I pull out my costume weapon axe over my stainless steel chainmail that I wear literally everywhere.
This cosplay is magic, folks. Cosplay is magic.
Yup.
Where is the injustice? I ask.
Oh my god.
We're
And
halfway.
where are the heroes?
He's not a Nazi witch, at the very least.
No, he's just straight out of Braveheart.
The Braveheart cosplay.
I think I was handling a few too many of those medications.
What you see?
We're not even at a flaming skullfuckers concert now, man. This is great.
There is a massive man with a trench coat and a bullet hole in his shoulder, who seems to have been taken aback. There is another massive
Take a
man
second, get back.
wearing what looks to be a doctor's coat. And
Probably just got off of work, yeah, makes sense.
it's unbuttoned. Like, he's got street clothes underneath, but he's got, a coat over it.
Cargo pants, button-up shirt. Boom.
And
Specializations.
on the opposite side of the alley is a punk. Like, punk incarnate. This dude has half of his head is shaven, the other half is this spiky green, like bright green hair. He's
the punk in Cyberpunk.
He has headphones that probably cost about $500 on. Like they're like gilded and everything. He's tall, skinny. He's got buckles and spikes and black leather everywhere, and he has platform shoes on, like 3-inch platform boots, which is impressive given that he's still fairly short looking. And
Then again, that might just be context.
he has a custom-made pistol. You only call it a pistol because he's holding it in one hand. Hand cannon might be more accurate. It's almost as big as his torso, which isn't big, but it is for a pistol.
Okay.
And again, you hear the blaring of the Sex Pistols from his headphones. What do you do?
I am a fair person. So I've walked into a situation. I don't know who the villains are yet, and who the heroes are yet.
Bystanders.
So I'm going to use my powers of storytelling.
All right.
To bore everybody to sleep.
In ancient times, The Norns guided our fates.
Why are you Scottish and talking about Norns?
Because
Why does he have stainless steel
Renaissance
chainmail?
cosplayer.
And they told our destinies, now speak true. Why are you here? And I use my mind spheres to demand that they give an honest answer.
All right, so everybody roll me. Roll me. You've got your focus, which I'm presuming is your cosplay axe.
How vulgar is this going to be? But he is forcing people to act against their will.
Not necessarily.
I mean, to the outsider, it could
I'm
be
just
more
asking
To
like-
the
what they're
outsider, he's
doing.
really just asking them a
asking a
question.
question.
If they feel compelled to answer, that's an entire.
Yes, but the question is whether or not one of the people that he's manipulating is a sleeper or not.
No, nothing fancy. Just go ahead
All right,
and
good then.
roll me your spell. Mind plus arete.
I guess everyone else should roll willpower.
And everybody else needs to roll some willpower.
I have mind. Would that do anything for me?
Get 5.
What's the...
It'll be 6, but I'm assuming this is your standard focus. This axe. This is how you usually use your magic. You reduce it by 1, so it's 5.
Yes. My magic is my Viking costume, so depending on the thing, I need to use my axe or my Nordic horn, depending on which is the more appropriate. So,
All right. So
the Nordic horns are on my best.
and the rest of you roll me willpower 6.
Willpower. What's willpower?
It's your willpower stat.
Your willpower
It starts at
stat.
5 if you didn't put
Oh,
it in.
that's right. That's right.
I got all 6.
So roll willpower.
So
Are you just using d20s and dividing?
yeah, and modding 10 because I
Okay.
couldn't find enough d10s in the pile.
I mean,
You just take the first number off.
All right. What'd you get?
3.
Yeah, makes sense.
I didn't get any.
Did you get a 1?
No ones.
Okay.
slightly.
So
We have D10s you can borrow.
Oh,
I've got a bunch of D10s
yeah, but D20s
here.
are fun. All right, Father. It's
What?
your
There's a
turn
slight-
next. You feel compelled to honestly tell
Two
him
sides
why
of
you're
each
here
D20 that work, so
and what you're doing.
it's the same statistical. chance.
Okay.
It still feels slightly weird.
It does.
I just point down at the guy on the floor and say he invited me. He tried. I mean,
what do you click?
what's the other? What's the guy with the gun doing? He's just standing there.
Well, we haven't gotten to his turn yet,
Okay,
so.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, you only do this once every 5 rounds of combat, but it does that plus
let's see.
power. That's exactly like that. That's a martial arts move.
Okay.
So I just
so you pointed-
I just point. I just say this guy invited me, and then I would run off toward the guy with the gun. I think just charge him if.
All right. The dude looks at you. What sort of trog you got here?
Yeah, it's like
What?
Slagging idiots. Points his gun at you and fires.
What?
At him?
At you.
So it's like a dexterity to dodge, I'm guessing?
Yeah, what's the dodging stat?
There is a
Dex and there's
Is it Dex Perception then?
yes.
the defense. Your defense is. Hang on.
I had most stats somewhere.
It's just a roll to hit. You don't have a dodge.
Oh.
He rolls to that. He rolls to see if he hits.
No, there's a...
That's Shadow Run. You have a dodge reaction.
No, I thought there was a dodge here too.
There was
I
a
thought I
way to
saw
dodge.
something.
I
in,
think
as a counter.
Yeah, you can make one. You can make one per turn,
Make his physical stats at least
Yeah.
secondary.
and I believe it is perception.
Primary, secondary, tertiary.
Dex.
You have the book, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to get a physical copy of the book.
Yeah, but finding anything in this book is not.
Yeah,
we're gonna
that's
call
what
it.
so is.
We're gonna call it Dex Perception for now until I'm proven otherwise, which will probably be very soon. So Dex Perception.
Here, can I see the?
I think that is because that's what I put this up.
Dex
Oh,
is-
you can't dodge.
So-
You don't dodge.
well, it depends on your armor too. A little
Yeah.
bit. It takes.
Yeah, you
some
can't
damage.
you can't dodge guns unless you have time to react to them. The time.
Well, I
sphere.
would see
I
someone
have the
pointing a
time
gun
Okay,
at
someone's
you.
pointing
and
at you
then-
firing. What are you doing in response? Do you have any magic that might prevent this?
No, I'm just
Okay,
dodging. Or I'm just
yeah.
throwing myself out of the way.
Alright, in that case, you don't get to do anything. Yeah, you would have to do something magical to prevent a gunshot.
Okay.
Yeah, that's part of the. That's part of why BT Dub's combat in this game is really lethal, because you don't have any opportunity to. Hang on, I'm looking at it right now. Phase 2 defense. You can block so somebody's punching at you. You can block something.
Yeah.
You can block and dodge in melee.
Yeah, I know
You can
melee-
bob and weave out of harm's way with a dexterity athletics roll.
Dexterity athletics makes sense.
Yeah.
Dodge. Okay, so you can dodge firearms, but it's a difficulty 9 or 10.
Okay, so
Oh,
yeah,
that's right.
dexterity
Yeah.
athletics, difficulty 9.
Yeah.
So you need a 9 or a 10.
Unless you can use time to speed up your perception to dodge
Yeah.
faster.
Yeah, and there's lots of magical ways to avoid bullets.
Yeah.
Or to just take
The,
a bullet.
the best way to avoid bullets is not being in a situation where you're getting shot at.
Right. I can't use life spheres to make myself faster because I'm just reacting.
Yeah, you're just reacting.
Japanese.
That was time or correspondence would be the two that you.
You could try to use like life and matter to increase your armor to take the blow.
And 10s explode, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was my only success. But
Each success subtracts 1 success from the attacker's roll.
Okay.
Cool. And what does the attacker
Oh,
roll?
he speaks through right.
Firearm, dexterity firearms.
Yeah, I made the roll already.
What depends on the damage of the gun.
Okay.
What damage does the gun do? Is it a regular gun?
Japanese.
No, it's a ridiculous gun.
Yeah. So like if it's weapons have damage values.
Yeah.
And you roll a number of d10s equal to that damage
Yeah.
value.
So okay. So then it doesn't matter if I exceed his hit by a lot as long as I make successes.
Yeah, as long as you make the successes, it doesn't. And you add excess of 1 success to the damage.
Sweet.
Also, how do you spell Carolinian?
So like
CAROLINIAN.
as an example, if you fire a gun and you dodge,
Yeah.
and you roll 4 successes and you roll 2 successes, that reduces the attack to 2 successes rather than 4 successes, which means you get the damage of the gun plus 1
Okay.
on the dice roll. And then he gets stamina plus armor to resist
All right.
damage.
Roll me stamina, and I'm going to give you 2 armor for your ridiculous chainmail.
Magic
Rolling stamina. What's the difficulty?
6.
Always
Diff
6.
6. Diff 6 on combat stuff.
Unless you have something. Combat stuff always has a difficulty pointed out.
Yeah.
Like my martial arts moves had different difficulties.
So, okay, I'm guessing the 0 on this one is a 10.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I got 2 10s which explode, so 2 successes plus 1 more success. So 3 successes
All right.
on stamina.
You also take 2 points.
Okay, so I'm at hurt.
As yeah.
Which puts you on a -1 for all dice pools.
So you get shot in the gut by
Except
this guy.
except for soaking.
No, it's something too.
Still soaking.
Still soaking.
Yeah, the more hurt you get, the worse you get hurt.
Yeah,
I
the
guess.
more hurt,
Yeah, that makes
the
sense.
more hurt you are, the harder it is to absorb it.
Right,
It's
Zachary?
werewolves that don't care about that.
Werewolves don't. Werewolves cannot care about it. Yeah.
What are you gonna do, Zachary? There's this dude. He just
You
started
already
shooting
use magic
people,
attack,
and he's
right?
playing Sex
Yeah.
Pistols at a volume that is loud for you, and you don't have it attached to your head.
Question.
All right, I am going to.
Don't you also have to say that you, what you intend to do and stuff?
I'm going to put a stop to his horrific
There are a
acts.
couple of different ways you can do initiative in this, but
I'm going to put a stop to
Doing
his
it in
horrific
simple ways,
acts.
my favorite.
I'm also going to make him stop shooting people.
All right, what are you doing?
Honestly, negotiation, I think at this point is just weird and confusing. So, I'm going to just go up and make this guy stop having a gun. So I'm going to run up to him and just grab his gun.
All right, go ahead and make me a Dex brawl.
Yeah.
Yep.
Unless you
So-
can convince me that you want to use a different stat and why you get to use it.
Dex probably makes sense.
Yeah.
In fact, I think there's actually a specific
Do
disarmament.
you have martial arts?
And can I also,
Do you want to use magic for this?
yeah.
All right.
So,
What are you doing with your magic?
I want to use mind and just make his reflexes just a little bit more sluggish to me.
All right, roll me. That's just straight mind. How many spheres do you have in mind?
2 spheres in mind.
2 spheres. You can distract him with it. So go ahead and roll
Would
me.
3 spheres of life be able to do something similar?
No, because you're not doing anything to his life.
Okay.
You're just trying to
So I can distract him a little bit.
So go ahead and roll me your roll that.
That and Arte? Okay.
That and Arete.
Are you using a focus?
Ah.
Do you have a focus for
He's
your mind?
got a focus.
Yeah. I got focus.
Are you
So you use it. How do you use it?
Do you have what's the deal with focuses? Because I'm not 100% sure.
So another example, my focus for forces is a lighter. And so if I want to set something on fire with my lighter, I will pull out my lighter and light it and use it as a catalyst to actually start a flame. And that action of using my lighter will reduce the difficulty of my casting of a force's power that involves me doing something with it. So, like, if William has brass knuckles and he wants to punch somebody with magic, using the brass knuckles will reduce the difficulty of his magic punch. Things like that.
Then I wouldn't use the focus, I guess.
Okay.
So what would be the difficulty of that?
6.
6. Okay.
And then he's going to try to willpower it.
It doesn't necessarily have to be like lighting. Like if I wanted to short circuit an electrical board, I could just take my lighter and stick it in the board.
Yeah.
You know, things like that. Just so long as the focus is being used in some way to perform the action.
Okay, that's 4 successes.
Cool. I got some bad news. You touch his mind.
Oh.
Alright, I need you to roll some willpower.
Sex Pistols.
Roll some willpower? Okay.
Roll me some willpower.
I mean,
You get close enough to hear
this
it.
is very obviously what Tarn is like in this world.
I've got some bad news about the rolls you just made.
What'd you roll willpower wise?
2.
Alright, as you touch his mind, you see what you can only describe as a vision of the abyss itself. Like, absolute horrendous torment burning your brain, and you collapse to the ground screaming in agony.
There's a perfectly sound medical explanation for this, I assure you.
He chuckles slightly. Slaggin' mages. When will you learn?
So now it's back to my turn.
Yep.
Okay.
John, could you roll me some initiative, please?
Sure. 8.
Cool.
So I'm going to use my mind and life spheres, yelling out "For Valhalla!" and blast my horn even through my injury here. And I'm going to try to inspire a berserker rage in Duncan.
Like you said 4.
That doesn't take much, I assure you.
Giving him like supernatural rage power and wanting to like pummel the crap out of this guy.
Alright. So, Arete and either Mind or Life, whichever's higher.
Yes.
And you're using a focus, so -1, so it's difficulty 5. And you're trying to make Duncan go into a rage, which isn't hard, so difficulty 4.
Yeah. Trying to throw him into a rage to give him like extra strength.
Yeah.
And I just like pummel the heck out of this guy. Okay, so Arete plus mine is 6, so I get 6 of these, difficulty 4.
Yeah.
The 10s explode, not the 2, so 5 plus 7.
So you previously wanted to beat this guy to a pulp. Now you want to beat him to a pulp with his own stupid leg wearing his ridiculous platform shoes. Speaking of which, would you like to go now?
Does he get like a boost to strength?
Yes.
And
You'll
dex
get
and
an extra die in all of your
So
physical
yeah,
stats
I'm
temporarily.
just gonna, since he's actually shooting people, I'm gonna go with my knife and just straight forward.
Straight shank
and just,
him? Dex and brawl.
yeah, and
With a knife, it takes a melee.
Dex and melee is melee.
yeah,
melee.
Dex and melee, I forgot.
yeah, that's the same roll for me anyway.
Yeah. Dex and melee. What's the damage on a knife?
It's going to be strength plus a number.
Yeah,
You got
I forget the number.
the
On a knife?
knife, yeah.
Yeah, I
Combat
remember.
knife.
I should. I've written
Also,
that
the reason why I had an extra dot in Spheres is because I took a bunch of flaws that I don't remember, but I know I have.
Okay.
down. Okay. 1, 2, 3,
I don't think
Because flaws give you additional freebie points to spend on
Yes.
things.
6.
6 to hit him.
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Base damage of a knife, difficulty 4 for a knife, damage is strength plus 1 lethal.
All right, you hit him. You hit him exactly, but you hit him.
It was
It's strength plus 4?
Yeah, it
Was
was
the
diff.
knife?
It was
Yeah.
actually diff 4 for the attack.
4? Oh, I probably would have
Yeah,
had another success.
weapons have their own difficulties to hit that,
Okay.
are, that are assigned to them.
Oh, that's right. Okay,
Yeah.
so
And strength
that
plus
down.
1 for damage.
All right, so roll me
So
a number of dice equal to.
currently strength plus 2 because you've got the
Extra success, yeah.
extra. Well, and
Okay.
strength plus 3 because you've got the extra strength.
Yeah, the extra strength from the
4.
Berserker Rage.
And the damage is always difficulty 6.
Yep.
is that all?
Yep. Diff 6.
Yeah.
Strength plus 3.
So it's plus
Yeah, strength plus 3.
So yeah, it's however many dots
1,
of
2,
strength you
3
have.
plus 3,
and
6.
3
Okay.
additional. Yeah.
For what? Yeah.
Diff 6.
1. Darn.
That's it for
Yeah.
6 rolls? Wow.
Wow.
Oh,
That was a poor roll.
It's a,
Yeah, it was.
it's a glancing blow.
This guy's leather vest is way thicker than you thought it
I'll
was.
send you the
Like,
picture.
it's clearly armored more than it looks like. You suspect some sort of Kevlar. Because you cut the leather and your knife just shinks off of something in it. And his turn, he does something weird. So you notice the back end of his gun has got a knife on it. He holds his arm up and he slits his arm. And you'll notice that this arm is entirely, you thought it was entirely covered with tattoos, but it's just a dusky red. And the blood splatters on you.
I mean, he is letting blood. Are we sure this isn't torn?
It's not
Does anybody who's currently super conscious have occult knowledge?
I
but
do.
Not there. Yeah.
You do?
Yes, I know all the ancient Viking cults.
Roll me occult plus intelligence.
Is there any way that my past lives of like the
Viking. Okay,
the
so-
Viking scholars of old can help me with this?
Yes, add your past lives to this roll.
So occult plus intelligence, you said?
Plus past lives.
Plus past lives. Okay, because the past lives are a lot more important than intelligence here.
Your focus
It sounds like
cool and more by the way than 20.
Yeah.
It's a combination.
And what's the difficulty?
Because you've got Viking knowledge, only a 6. We'll keep it average. Because you would be the kind of person to know this stuff.
1 explodes. 2.
So you've been a mage long enough. You know this sort of thing. This man is from the order of the Castigate. That means that he's grafted himself with demons in order to slay those that he would consider to be abominations. Based on what he's doing, you suspect that's mages.
That's fun.
Great.
He's a hunter.
Mage hunter.
He's a mage hunter.
This won't be a problem for anyone.
On the plus side, that means he doesn't have any magic.
It's true.
On the downside, that means that using magic on him directly or contact with his blood are both horrible things for you, specifically.
Speaking of contact with his blood,
Whatever.
I mean,
Alright,
I
so...
have the best chances of killing someone without using magic.
And now it's your turn.
Oh, hey.
You hear a kerfuffle. Mainly, you hear gunshots, and then you hear the Sex Pistols.
This I have to investigate.
Yeah.
and a war horn.
And that I don't care about.
You're walking down, and you hear the
Someone's
Sex Pistols.
playing the Sex Pistols loudly. Come on.
So I'm investigating.
You walk down the alley, and you just catch this man. Roll me your occult plus intelligence.
That's a lot.
You see this man just slit his wrist at somebody.
1. Oh, what difficulty?
This is going to be a bit more obscure for you. 7.
I think mine is.
3 successes.
3 successes. You know basically the same thing. This is a hunter order of the castigate specifically, which is demonic magic. You would presume you aren't sure what these 3 people are, but given that they're definitely not vampires or werewolves, either mages or some other supernatural being that looks like human.
And do I know that, like, is it, like, specific types of magic that don't work well on him, or all types of magic that don't work well on him?
Magic that... Attempting to use magic on him directly.
Okay.
Indirect magic is fine.
I look up and see if there's a loose AC unit above him. Since we're in an alleyway between 2 buildings.
I mean, that one could be a little bit looser.
I would like to use forces and correspondence and time to just drop an AC unit on him at meteoric speeds.
All right.
And so I pull out my golden chain watch and my lighter. And just sort of looking at the watch, I click it, pull out the lighter, and just tap a conduit on the wall that eventually may potentially lead up to that AC unit.
All right. Roll me your spellcasting.
I'm using
Ting,
2
ting, ting.
focuses.
Only
I don't know
only
the
up
stat.
to a -1, yeah.
Okay, so -1. So what's the initial difficulty, real quick?
And this really is going to be... This is... Everyone here knows what magic is, so there's no vulgarity. So initial will be 6, so it's 5.
Okay. So 5 for using my focus. I'm going to spend a willpower for an auto success, and I'm going to spend 4 quintessence out of my talisman to reduce that to diff 1.
All right.
By the way, maximum penalty for working outside of your focus and maximum bonus for using your focus can only ever be +or -3.
Is it +3? Oh, for focus. Okay.
Yeah, is the maximum it can swing for working outside or working inside.
Okay. I knew that was for contestants. I thought the focus was...
It can only be 3 harder or 3 easier for your focus.
3 successes, 1 of which was an exploding. That's just my base arete. 4 successes. 5, 6 successes. 7, 8, 9 successes.
Let's see how aware this guy is of your magic.
Tink!
All right. And roll me... Do you have any arcane cloaking?
No. In fact, I'm an avatar, so if he can sense avatars...
I have Arcane. Arcane's real useful.
Yeah, no.
So, he notices you casting just in time to get hit.
So yeah, I figure with 9 successes, the AC unit basically just goes clink, and then not quite speed of light, but pretty damn close.
Yeah. All right. Roll me... You got 6 successes?
9 successes.
9 successes? All right. How is damage calculated from spells?
Depends.
Typically speaking,
If it was a raw like magic spell directing at him,
It's
it would be
number of
number of
successes and
successes.
damage.
But this is an AC unit that I'm dropping on him from however high.
you might add 1 or 2 for the AC unit.
Roll me number of successes and damage.
All right.
That sounds fine.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 damage.
I will, however, because it's an AC unit falling on him, reduce 2 of his armor.
Armor
Which
doesn't
would
work
send
well
him straight to
against AC
crippled
units.
if he doesn't. It would send him straight to crippled if he doesn't absorb it all.
This man is supernaturally tough. Like, that should have just straight killed him. But, like, that arm, that dusky red arm, sort of deflected it a bit. So the arm's okay. You suspect he cracked several ribs, though, doing so. Looks over. That's not what I was hired for. Slagging. Right out, and he bolts. Anybody try to do anything?
Yeah.
We're still on the same initiative, so it's my turn, right?
Yes.
No way I'm letting this guy go because the heroes have got to lay chase to the villains.
All right. He's just looked over and then spun. He hasn't bolted yet, but it's obvious he's about to.
Let's think. Am I? So if I'm going to use magic, I can't like attack him in the same, like.
You would suspect that using magic on him directly.
No. What I want to do. So what I want to do is I want to like, because I am hurt. I want to use my life magic to just temporarily suspend that wound so that I can just bull rush him and whack him with the axe.
You can activate an effect as part of doing something else. It just has to be relevant to what you're doing.
Yeah, no, you can. So roll your life and arete to ignore.
To ignore your wound penalties.
How's this camera accident?
Okay.
Typically speaking, you'd ignore one
What's
level
the difficulty
of
of that?
for each success.
Difficulty. You don't have a You don't have a focus directly into this, do you?
You have a light
Is an
focus? And your focus had to be specific to a sphere.
Yeah. So the horn is like specific to the mind. So I don't have a focus.
Okay, yeah. So just 6.
Yeah, like that's like my lighter is forces, my watch is time. I have a ring that's
Depends.
prime.
Explode. 3 plus 1 is 4.
4.
Yeah.
All right. You easily ignore the pain, so you take no penalties if you're going to huck an axe at him.
Then I'm.
Or are you running at him or throwing him?
No, I'm going to sprint and try to hit him. So I'm going to try athletics, dexterity, I guess.
Dexterity.
Your focus is just how you do that.
Melee.
Okay, cool.
Dexterity, melee. Ooh, even better.
Cool. I mean, he doesn't.
He's got
You have his
dice because he's not feeling so great.
Your focus is whatever you build it to be.
Yeah.
And this is a 6 that I need at. So.
You still need one for each
axe is a
sphere,
difficulty
though.
5. It's just how you do magic.
Okay, so 3. 3 successes.
He dodges. All right. Father.
As I see him turn, I'm just gonna try to trip him and pummel.
Dex brawl to trip him.
Yeah, just brawl, just get him on the floor.
Okay. Instruments. That's the thing.
Yeah, your instruments are your tools.
How many instruments do you need?
You typically have like 7 at character creation.
I think you need.
And as you grow, you can cast off instruments.
Yeah, you need instruments for spheres, not the single focus, but the instruments are what you need for spheres. One
5.
One each sphere.
6.
Five.
Information was correct. I was using the wrong word.
All right. You attempt to trip him, but he's too quick for you.
Chase.
All right. He starts bolting. Dave Tarasu.
Okay.
The vision fades as your vision settles back on the world. You see this man sprinting away. He's reached the alley wall. Like there's a 2-story building. He's jumped up, grabbed onto a pipe, flung himself up the wall, and then grabbed onto the gutter and lobbed himself over it.
He jumped up onto the gutter and lobbed himself over it.
Yeah, he's not.
How fragile looking is that gutter?
Is he still on the gutter?
No, that was his act. Like
Okay.
you can try to interfere, but it'll have to be quick, so it'll be harder.
Any kind of magic.
Yeah. Until you
hit RT3, then you can start discarding your tools.
I have RT3.
Yeah, you can discard 1 tool at RT3.
Yeah.
Either I could try to keep up with him, which these two are already trying to do, but I probably really can't. Basically, this is just a matter of doing what I can right now.
Okay.
So, just as a last-ditch effort to hopefully stop him, I'll try to see if that gutter can come loose, because I do have matter.
He's not on the gutter.
You could try to try to do it quickly, but it'll be a difficulty 8 instead of a 6 because he just grabbed it for a second to lob himself.
I mean, if you're using a focus, if you use your focus, that reduces it by 1. Or your instrument, sorry, that reduces it by 1. Then you can spend quintessence if you have any.
I do have quintessence.
Quintessence is something you can get back later. So.
Yeah.
And you can also spend a willpower for an auto success. If the GM will allow it. GM can always fiat willpower successes.
On this one, I will, just because you don't have time to focus yourself. This is you're coming to, and you see his hand on the gutter. You don't have time to grab anything either. This would be just a guttural no.
All right. Sure, I'll try that.
Okay.
Arte Matter hitting an 8.
Yep. Arte Matter, and then the quintessence will lower it, though, right?
Yeah, you can
Quintessence
spend
lowers
it
it
by
for each
Yeah, you
level
can
is a
spend
difficulty.
you can spend as much quintessence as you want to lower
Up to
up
Avatar.
Up to your
your
avatar.
avatar.
Up to my avatar,
Yeah.
which is... I'll spend 2 then, because that's what I can spend.
My
So,
avatar is 4.
6.
That's why I can spend 4.
Which means...
I have a 4-dot avatar.
I feel like he may have to catch himself.
Which is 4 successes.
4 successes, he's going to have to try to catch himself. Fewer dice than we normally have. It's a fairly difficult task, so we're going to ignore 6s. As the gutter crumbles, he swears, but is able to catch on to one of the bolts that was holding it and hoist himself onto the roof that way and roll off of it.
Wow.
Probably still takes him a second longer, maybe.
It does take it a second longer, so that'll give Galladier,
Yep.
or whatever you're called in this universe.
Galladier.
Galladier.
Still Galladier.
You have a split second as you've refocused of him lobbing himself over the corner of this building out of sight.
Is he in midair currently?
Yes.
Okay.
He's got his hand on the roof, but the rest of it, his feet are over.
Yeah. Infecting him directly is difficult.
Yes.
He's up on the roof.
Mm-hmm.
How is he positioned?
So the way
is he perpendicular to the ground right now?
So if this is the roof, and this is him being upright, he's lobbed himself, so he's kind of at this sort of an angle.
Oh, that's great. That's great. His hand is currently on the roof too, right?
Yeah, his hands are on the roof.
Is it like on a tile?
Pardon?
Is it like on a roof tile?
No, it's on the edge board.
Okay. I would like to make whatever.
And it's a tin roof.
I would like to make whatever he's grabbing rip off and launch him back down to the ground.
It wouldn't just have to rip off. His momentum has him vaulting.
Yeah.
So if his hand broke, he wouldn't be stable, but he'd still be going over.
Okay. What's the weather like right now?
So it's March, which is the sunniest time of the year in Saipan. So it's cloudy, but no rain. There's kind of a constant gentle breeze from the sea, but it's not typhoon season.
Risking vulgarity, could we have some day lightning? Some just clear day lightning that just so happens to strike this guy? With my 3 dots and forces, which is enough to call elements.
Yeah.
That's real vulgar.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
it's
not
getting
as
there.
vulgar as things could be because random day lightning is a thing that does happen.
If it's vulgar, it's vulgar, and
It's not as vulgar as it could be.
vulgar's a binary.
Yeah,
You
vulgar's
could
binary.
be,
It is
summoning it in-
that's up to you whether or not if that would be vulgar or not.
It's definitely vulgar because here's the thing. In the alleyway, people can't see what you're doing magically.
Oh yeah, no.
Right.
When you're calling lightning down from the sky
Oh yeah.
on an island where there's a lot of meteorologists,
Yep.
Who cares?
that shouldn't be a thing.
There's vulgar no witnesses, and there's vulgar with witnesses. This
Also, you are still targeting him.
Am I? Yeah, yes, that would still be targeting him. Though I don't know how much resistance he could have to a lightning bolt.
This is true.
It's not like I'm trying to invade his mind. I'm literally electrocuting him,
All right, go for it.
and he's on a tin roof.
Have at it.
You get at least one paradox just because it's vulgar.
Yep. So gain a paradox. What's the difficulty going to be?
It's gonna be 8
All right, going to be 8.
because he's a fast-moving target, and this
Yep.
is pretty vulgar.
I've still got my force. I've still got my instrument in my hand.
Yep.
So 7. I'll spend another 4 quintessence to drop that down to 3. And I'll spend my own quintessence this time rather than out of my talisman. And I'll spend another willpower for an auto success.
All right.
That's 1 success now. Diff 3, Arate and forces. So 3 for my natural
I
Arate.
like this guy.
3 successes. One of them was a 10. That was not a success. So 3 successes, which is 4 successes so far. 2 more successes, so that's 6 successes. And for my talisman, 3 more successes, so that's 8 successes.
Wait, 3 more successes?
Sorry, 2 more
Maybe nine.
successes.
Okay.
8 successes. 8 successes to hit him with lightning.
8 successes to smite your opponent in the middle of the city.
8 successes to call down the thunder.
So 4 of your successes are negated by some sort of supernatural resistance.
Okay.
But go ahead and roll me 4 damage.
Any bonus for him being on a metal, for him touching a metal roof currently?
No, actually, that would. No.
Why would the metal roof make it?
I don't know.
It would only help that you wouldn't have to hit as directly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
But
what,
it's
that's what I meant.
yeah. There's a conductive path to ground either way. So
Yeah.
Okay, so that's
just widens your
4
electrical
damage,
aperture.
which means 4 damage.
Yeah, roll 4.
Alright.
His armor.
4 successes!
I don't know that his armor helps with lightning, but we'll see.
His armor is adding resistance to him.
4 successes.
Alright, he takes. It didn't hurt him a lot, but it definitely did something. Unfortunately, it wasn't.
At the very least, caught him off guard, I'm sure.
Did cripple him. Because crippled makes him a -5 to all of his actions.
No, you feel like it mauled him.
Okay, so he's almost crippled. He got a -2 to all his actions.
You hear a soft thunk from the other side of the alley, but not a fleshy thunk like he did land on his feet.
Okay. Well, at the very least, I sent him away with the going away present.
Yes.
Meteorologists are so puzzling over the random instances
Yeah.
of striking insane.
Doctor.
It's alright, someone just had a magnet running way too powerfully. I just pulled a strong negative field and
Yeah, that's what it was.
Alright.
Doctor. We are hurt here. Time to practice your craft.
How do you know he's a doctor?
He's got a lab coat.
obviously he's got a lab
Because I have
coat,
the
be a doctor.
And also, there's probably a name tag that lists me as a doctor.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
you know, medical thingamabobs.
Do you actually have a lab coat?
Oh, these people meet me.
Alright.
So, that's been resolved, mostly. Looking at the group of them,
Greetings, brave warrior.
walk away.
No, your name. I need to compose an epic in your
As the two of
honor.
them are discussing, the two of you
Already
look at
gone.
each other, and you feel an odd twinge in the back of your head.
Both of us?
Yes. You feel like you're remembering a dream you had once. A dream. What happened in this dream? You
Green hair.
had green... Yes. You feel like you should be more primal looking even than he already is, and you remember green hair on this man. You can't figure
Well,
out...
I do have very dark green hair, but it's short. You feel like it should be longer.
Yeah.
It also should be brighter.
Yes,
You
much.
feel odd, as though you should recognize him. And then it comes to you. And then it comes to you. And then you remember many, many, many much things. And the world is spinning, and
You untether.
yes, you remember,
Another world.
I'm not from here. But it's hard to remember specifics of the other world. Again, it's like you're remembering a dream. You know the dream happened. You know it happened.
You know it's real and you know it wasn't a dream, but you can't...
But pulling the details is, again, like remembering something out of a dream. It's vague. It's... One name stands out. You need to meet Gilda Smith.
Since I can't get his name to compose an epic, I do the next best thing and go to the nearest bar.
All right.
I'm going to bring back beers for everyone.
So he goes off to the bar. He's walking off. Where are you two going?
You didn't see me, by the way. You just said, like, click. Okay.
So, who was he?
That? I don't know.
All right. So while you're using this app, let's hop to the rest of our party members. All right. So at a fairly similar time, a different part of Saipan. Oh, let's cut back 6 years ago.
Dun dun dun.
How old are you?
Probably
6 years ago?
6 years ago, he was probably early 20s.
When was your time period which you were looking at for the thing?
Probably about that time.
It's about 6 years ago. What's your name again?
So, real name, Kuro Ryukage, known to most of the world as Akuma.
What's your first name again?
Kuro.
Kuro.
Kuro Ryukage.
You are
Ryukage Kuro.
sitting...
Yeah, it would be, but we're in Saipan, not Japan.
You're in a cellar. Like usual. With some bread. And a barrel of collected rainwater that they keep for you. It's a typical day. Well, night. Can't tell. And you rummage through your belongings. And you don't have a lot, just some knickknacks. But you don't remember having something that you see there. There's a deck of cards. Tarot cards. It's a simple deck. They look old, but they're not worn. But they're with your things. You see the card on top that's facing up is the tower.
What are you doing here? He draws the next card.
As you draw the card, it's again the tower.
You use all the tower, he flips the deck over.
No, it's a full deck. There's no repeats in it.
Where was that? Go back. Why was there a second tower?
You flip back over, you flip up the card, it's the tower.
My head hurts.
Flip another card,
Yeah.
it's the tower. The card you had in your hand isn't there anymore. You just flipped it up again.
I...
You hear a pounding on your door.
Congratulations, you're going insane.
I put the deck under my things.
Hey,
What?
get out here.
I stand up and make my way out.
He opens the door. Kuro, right?
Yeah.
Look. Boss got to dig on something fun for you.
I'm sure.
He grabs you by the arm roughly and drags you over to a dogfighting pit. You've seen this before. We got a little board, so here. He tosses you in the pit. You see on the cage, Ripper. The cage opens. You're familiar with how this goes. The dog does what any starved fighting dog would do.
Yeah.
Bolts at you. What's your immediate reaction?
So the question here is, how much do I know of my martial arts? I'm assuming this is before or after I know these.
This is before,
Okay.
but. Before, but.
Before but. So now.
Yes.
So I will typhoon kick the dog.
You saw a Kung Fu movie once, and it's easy to give up on life at this point, but you may as well. You spin kick this dog, and it hits the ground straight dead. The boss, who is sitting in a chair with a pair of lovely ladies at his side, comes to a jolt. What the... What do you do now? You just kicked a Doberman in the face so hard it died.
Well, this is hardly the worst thing that's happened to me today.
You heard it here first, folks. Faust kicks dogs.
Was anyone surprised? You got another one?
The boss stands. What did you just do?
I kicked it in the head.
It was very self-apparent.
You. He points at one of his grunts. He hesitantly gets in the cage and checks the dog. It's dead, boss. There's a grunt standing in front of you and an
Does he have a
open
weapon
door.
on him?
Yeah, he's got a gun. He's got a pistol and a nightstick.
Kick him in the head.
Take the gun, then kick him in the head.
Kick him in the head, then take the gun.
What's in this room?
So this is the boss's entertaining den. It's got a dog fighting rink. It's got a private bar.
There's a dead dog in there now.
It's got a dead dog. It's got a theater on one end. Lots of the casinos up top are nicer, but this casino's got some stuff. There's a lot of drug paraphernalia. He's been making it rich off of ice lately.
Mm-hmm.
Been cornering the market.
I feel like there's a lot of brand confusion with ice as a drug name.
Yeah.
Just saying.
It's the biggest drug in Saipan right now, so.
What do you mean this patient came in with something about ice? Just let it melt!
There's a lot of... There's a few you recognize.
What kind of ice? Vanilla?
These are the high-end clients. These are the people he wants to impress. And they're all just sort of staring, confused at...
Vanilla or shredded?
I mean, hey, I came from an upper-class, slightly more sheltered lifestyle. That would probably be my initial reaction in the first week, so you know.
I would like
You're
to...
an immigrant family, though. When you hear ice, you gotta run. More ice puns.
I would like to step up behind the guy who's checking the dog, and just, hey, buddy, tap him on the shoulder and throw him towards the boss.
All right. You, with some supernatural force, hurl this man like a tennis ball.
Congratulations, you've reached anime protagonist.
Why is he not rolling? Why doesn't he have to roll for things?
Because
This is his background.
He had to roll in his background, and he
didn't have to roll to not get crushed by a skull biting
that's true.
ship.
Yeah,
That's
no,
true.
that just happened.
Yeah. Barrels down the boss. There's an open door, and everybody is freaking the heck out.
I casually walk out of it.
All right, you walk out. Do you
Wait,
just leave,
There's
or
a perfectly unburned place here. What do
Give
you
it a
mean?
minute.
no?
not done yet.
That's what the flash forward's for.
I grab the tarot deck before I leave.
As you walk out and you feel in your pocket, the tarot deck is there.
Good, I don't need to stay here. I leave.
You walk out. Flash forward 6 years later.
Which I'm going to describe what he looks like now.
Yes.
So...
An individual walks up to the door of a club, knocks on it, a slot opens and a man looks out. What does he see?
The probably mid-20s, definitely of Japanese descent individual, dressed in very fine...
Late 20s now.
Yeah, well, late 20s now. He's about 26 now.
Yeah.
With this sort of very finely tailored but very fashionable suit jacket that just kind of rests on his shoulders. His arms in the button-down shirt that is always constantly open around 2 or 3 buttons down, with the dark leather crimson vest and similar pants, with these blood red gloves on each hand. His hair is shock white and in a sort of a very fashionable, very edged cut. His skin is pale. His eyes are a faint shade of red, which kind of suggests some mild albinism, but his facial hair grows in black just fine. His wearing some jewelry above the eyebrow and on the ears. And he kind of glares at the individual in the door slot.
What's the word?
I'm assuming I know exactly what this place is.
Oh yeah.
Do I know?
This is the place you left 6 years ago.
Do I know the word, or do I not care?
It changes regularly enough.
I don't know it then.
If you want to know it, you could.
No, I don't think this door needs to be here.
What's the word?
You want to roll me some dough?
Yeah, I'm gonna roll dexterity and dough.
You might also want to add some life and forces.
Yeah, life and forces.
Okay, roll me some life and forces. The dough is irrelevant at that point.
Yeah, so forces will be the higher one. So forces and arete.
What is dough?
It's an Akashic Brotherhood technique.
It's a special thing.
It's really complicated.
It's wire foo.
Oh, okay.
It's
I gotcha.
Difficulty 6.
Yes.
2 successes.
You with the first punch, the door buckles. With the second punch, it creaks and falls. The man behind it stares at you for a second before pulling his gun out.
If he fires, I would like to.
Arrow catch?
Yeah, no, I can't do that yet. I have enough. I have to get one more dot of life
Okay.
before I can do that. But I would like to use time to enhance my reaction time to snake step the bullet, and then just punch him in the throat.
Roll me your time and arete.
Okay. Yes. 5 successes on time.
This guy's not a crack shot. You step aside the bullet easily and knock the man cold with a single punch.
Does he have anything alcoholic on him, perchance?
No. Guards don't partake while they're on duty.
Alright, well, door open, I just kind of start striding through. This is a bar. I'm gonna grab a cocktail while I pass by.
The upper level is seems quite abandoned as people have started running. You see a bunch of people leaving the upper level as you walk downstairs.
I just kind of like casually pass by the bar, grab a cocktail in one hand, grab a bottle in the other, and start sipping the cocktail as I'm walking through.
As you walk down, you see in the room, it's him again, sitting in his chair. His guards have AKs out, trained on you.
I'm back.
That will be your last mistake, Kuro. What's that they're calling you now?
Yeah, it's actually Akuma now.
Mighty high opinion you have of yourself.
They call me it.
Can the devil take a bullet any better than a man? Let's find out.
I think you'd be surprised about that answer.
4 men let loose on you.
Forces to slow the trajectory of the bullets. Time to see them faster. To just step in.
All right. If you want to pass this off as non-vulgar, I'm going to need you to roll me appearances charisma.
I can do that.
No, appearance is a set. Appearance and martial arts?
Appearance and dough?
Yeah, appearance and dough. Because you need to look like a sweet kung fu master to sell it.
6? It's 2 successes, 1 is a 10, 3 successes.
You step through in the most, casual kung fu master way. As you approach, roll me manipulation, intimidation. Is that intimidation a thing?
That'd be subterfuge. No, intimidation is a thing. Never mind.
Yeah.
Manipulation and 3 for intimidation.
I like how you and I use time and forces in very similar ways.
4 successes.
Let's see what mooks have for willpower.
It's very interesting that Faust and Galadir were very similar in the first one and are also very similar here.
Ooh. He's not scared of you. He's an idiot.
He should be.
3 of them just bolt. They drop their guns and bolt.
As I step up to the one who didn't run, I just kind of, like, with the sipping the cocktail in one hand, just raise the right leg and typhoon kick into the chest.
Roll me your typhoon kick.
Alright,
You
so
will try to not be hit.
I would like to use forces to enhance this.
Yes, you would.
So first my forces roll to see how much I can reduce the difficulty on this attack.
He's not dodging, by the way.
Okay, so that's 3 successes, so I reduce the difficulty on the typhoon kick by 3. Which is good, because it's a difficulty 8, but now it's a difficulty 5.
You can spend any quintessence on it? Or you can't, because it's not a spell.
No, the reducing the difficulty on the thing is a spell, but I didn't roll well enough to make my quintessence matter for any other dice. So then it's going to be dexterity and dough, difficulty 5. 2 successes, which means that's going to be how badly did he dodge? 0? That's going to be 10 damage.
You remember what you did to that dog earlier?
Yeah.
Flashback. Like, abrupt from gunfire to crack on the floor. The boss has stammered up from his chair, and everybody else has left the room, and he's too fat to run from you well, and he knows it. He's backed up to the bar. Look, what do you want, man? Money? You can have anything I got. Power. Power. Come on, you know I can set you up. You know how powerful I am.
Oh, I don't want money.
Women, I have
power.
I have a harem of slaves from China.
You know what I want? I want that cigarette you got in your back pocket.
Sure. He reaches into his back pocket.
Thanks. I light the cigarette, I drop it in the bottle, and I throw it at the back wall, and it explodes very violently.
You want to roll me some forces to make it explode more violently than it ought?
Yes.
I was going to throw it at him.
4 successes.
Yeah, the back wall bursts into flames. He tries to run past you to
I
get
just
to the
kind
stair.
of hook an arm around his shoulder. You and me, we're gonna sit down and we're gonna watch this world you built burn down together.
All right, you lock him down. You gonna do anything to stop the fire from burning you?
I'm going to stand at a very strategic position where there's more metal than anything else, where it'll burn less, and then life and forces to just make myself not heat up.
Sure.
So that'll be forces is my better one.
Meanwhile, dude on your arm is going to dry out like a raisin.
Oh, nice. It's 3 successes, 1's a 10. 4 successes.
I don't think he's going... well, he dries out after profusely wetting himself, of course.
The man is screaming. The man is burning. And then, roll me alertness and perception.
How do the firefighters come in?
Oh, no.
Oh, 2 successes. I only had 2 dice.
There aren't any firefighters in Cyclone.
There are, but that's not who came to this. He's screaming, and then his head falls off his shoulders.
Oh, that's too early.
Kuro, that's unnecessary.
Who am I looking at?
You look up, and you see one of the sheriffs, Yaren. Middle-aged man, gray in his hair, but a strong build. Slender, he has slender features, but very toned muscle. And though he's at least in his 50s, he's in solid shape. He's not, six-pack abs kind of shape. He's just a I get stuff done kind of shape.
Yeah. I hold out the cocktail glass. You want a drink? I'm just watching this place go away.
As you look into the fire, you remember another fire from your past, and you too awake from a dream. Memories flooding back to you.
Doing the same thing he did.
Kuro. This is a residential district.
I'm sure you'll make sure the fire doesn't spread.
I'm sure you'll be more careful in the future.
This was the only place that needed to burn.
Good.
Don't worry, the Black Dragons aren't looking to cause trouble for you.
Make sure they don't.
The Black Dragons.
Nice.
Go along.
Oh no, I'm gonna sit and watch.
Just a zipping sound.
Really?
I'll leave once everything's ash.
Alright. If this spreads, I'm holding you to it, he says, walking out the door.
Please tell me my
Alright.
apartment complex is on fire when I get back.
You gonna use some magic to make sure the fire doesn't spread?
Yeah, I'll just use forces to make sure it
Okay.
doesn't spread. That
I'm
doesn't
not
ash
even gonna
anything
make
else.
you over the time you control the fire, you keep it contained. This place burns to ash. And you head back.
Yep.
Alright. You're going to intersect with So Holly.
Ha! Finally joined us.
It is we're gonna flash back about 12 hours.
Okay.
That's the shortest flashback.
Yeah, that's
No,
why she's last.
I thought you were just gonna say like 12 years.
12 years ago. 12 hours earlier.
12 hours earlier. You've just finished a couples dance session. It's been a lot easier to get private lessons ever since you signed on for that movie. The role of supporting background dancer turned out to be a lot more lucrative than you would have expected. The movie hit pretty well. Lined up to win an Oscar. But
Oscar for best supporting background dancer.
no,
He means
best-
the movie,
the
not
movie.
or-
I know.
Yeah.
That was just amusing to think about.
Best supporting background dancer.
Picture of the back of her head.
You know, it's not crazy, but people who, you know, the movie buffs are like, oh, it was filmed in Saipan. Oh, look, you know, the lead dancer for the, and you hope with some of the choreography, you know, you got a bit of a rep going. But regardless, it's almost 3 o'clock. Kai should be getting home from school. In fact, you hear a knock at the door.
She'll go to answer it.
You
Man at the police, were you talking about your son?
The studio door is open. They knocked on the office door. You go to open the office door, and you see a familiar figure and his 2 retainers. Your ex-husband
Takes one out, puts the other one in.
I know, I'm wearing 2 giant retainers right now.
Listen, sweetheart.
What does your ex-husband see?
She basically looks like what she looked like in the other world because she was human.
Go ahead and describe it to me.
Vaguely.
She's Korean. She's of average height, probably like 5'7", 5'8".
Tall for a woman.
Yeah, sorry, little taller than average. Long, almost like waist length, bright red hair, amber eyes, pale skin, a very slim build, probably in a dancer's outfit.
Okay. And I imagine becoming much more pale
Yes.
as your husband walks into the office and the retainers force you to step back into your office and close the door. It's been a few years since you left, so abruptly. We've been worried about you. Couldn't find you at all. Congratulations on the movie deal, by the way.
Are we gonna have to show up and kill him again?
I think that's
You
my
know-
job, actually.
I don't feel like if you're in hiding, you should really be making a name for yourself. But you always were an exceptional individual.
It's kind of a dumb move.
So
exactly what she does, though.
I know.
I'm going to make
Makes sense,
you
but
an offer. Come back with me. We can work your fame out in North Korea. You can be
North Korea.
North
That's
Korea.
cool.
North Korea.
Yeah, that's a one-way trip.
Yeah. That's why.
You see, not many people get an offer like this. Normally, once you defy me, well,
Is your ex-husband Kim
Kim
Jong-un?
Jong-un.
No, it's one of the Kim brothers.
no, but it's pretty high up with them. One of his
I'm gonna say
men.
the voice is not right if it is, because
Bust.
if you define me.
Yeah, he's speaking in Korean, so we're going to pretend there's no accent here. One of his men pulls out a pistol. So, what'll it be? Or should we wait to see if your son might help make this decision?
Yep.
How close are they to me right now?
They push you back into your seat, so he's over a table from you. But he's right in your face.
Turn into a fox with his throat out.
Do that here.
That would be very
It
vulgar.
just requires
There's-
5 dots of matter.
Don't have that.
You might.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Where's the pistol? Like
The two guys with the pistols, they're a good 15 feet off from you at the entrance to your office.
She's gonna try to do a maneuver where she slides out of the chair and disarms one of the guys.
Alright, try to slide out of the chair. Roll me dexterity.
Slide 15 feet across the room.
Roll me
Go
dexterity.
on
and
the-
Magically slide.
What's acrobatics?
Athletics.
Yeah, dexterity athletics.
Oh, I do not have athletics. I knew I should have taken it out.
You're gonna have a bad day.
I knew I should have taken it out. What's the success line? Okay, 2 successes.
As you start to slide, his hand lurches forward and pins you by the throat to your chair. You feel your airway being constricted right now. That was a bad choice. It's a pity. You were so pretty to look at. But I suppose I can find another. His hand's not letting up from your throat. You can't breathe right now.
What you gonna do?
She's gonna try to pry his hands off her throat.
You grab his arm. It's not doing any good.
Okay.
Then you hear the door open. As the person you were expecting it to be walks in. Kai, the 10-year-old boy, walks into there having just gotten back from school. He had an origami swan in his hand that he seemed very excited to show you. He's always been really good with origami. And he sees this. Mom! As he shouts, his form shifts, and you've never seen this before. He lunges forward as some sort of like
I mean, your son's
half fox beast and tackles the man on you, smacking his head into the table.
How old is Kai?
He's
About 10.
That's about the right age for a changer.
Yeah, he then spins around as the two men look shocked, and the origami swan in his hand turns into a flying bird and flies at one of them. The man swings his hand.
She's not an actual werewolf. Okay.
No, there is a fox breed of changer.
Yeah, Kitsune.
Yeah.
They're one of the few werewolves who use magic.
Yeah.
Wait, so is he? What form is he in now?
He's half fox.
He's in Krynos form,
Yeah.
the
Is he in
equivalent.
Krynos form? Nice.
And
That means the strength gets +4.
Well, it's different for the Kitsune,
I know.
but
yeah, but it was enough to tackle a full-grown man. The swan begins assaulting this guy, and he's trying to wave it off because it's a really big bird for a really small office. The other man shoots him.
being a shifter.
I got some bad news. Your son staggers, and you see blood fly. What do you do?
I would like to reach my hands into the guy's throat and pull out his vocal cords.
Is there anything on hand you would like to use to do this?
What's around me right now?
You have a pair of scissors.
You have a compact on your desk.
Does it happen to have a mirror in it?
It does.
I would absolutely love to break the thing on the side of the desk and use a mirror shard to carve out his throat.
All right. Are you working on your ex-husband or the man who just shot your kid?
The man who just shot my
Your
child.
husband is currently
The man who just shot my child.
Shift out from under him, leap over the table, and implant this into his throat. He staggers back, and as the thing drives into his throat, it shifts red, and you begin sucking something out of him, and he begins shriveling and turning into a black mummified remains of what he was. Your ex-husband spins around and pulls a knife and stabs your son in the throat. He falls off the table and hits the floor, not moving.
Which one? The Kai?
Yeah, Kai.
She's going to grab her ex and throw him as far as she can.
You go to grab him, and the raw magical force you just absorbed expels into his chest, and there's a small explosion, and he smashes into the back wall into a concrete beam so hard his head cracks open and blood begins gushing out.
I see we are in a slaughterhouse movie.
Basically.
So there used to be magical subtleties. Used to be.
I mean,
It sounds very vulgar.
Your awakening typically is vulgar.
She's gonna check on her son. Next.
Alright. These two people are definitely both dead, and you check on your son. So, he was shot in the chest and stabbed in the throat. He should be dead, but he's not, but he's half fox.
Okay.
And memories are rushing back to you, and you can't think, and the hospital would be the worst place to go. Among other things, he's half fox. Among other things, it's the hospital. You know the hospital. Ancient.
That would have made it a very interesting day for me.
You can think of ancient legends.
Here, have fox. Heal it.
As you awaken both magically and untethered at the same time, your brain is flooding, and there's one face that crosses over both. There's only one person you know who might be able to do anything. You can't remember. You've met him. Oh, shoot. There's only one choice. You go? You get a bad feeling about it. Alright, you rush out.
Does he still have fox right now?
Yes.
She's gonna grab, like...
There's a back alley you get there. You want to walk in the open streets.
Okay, she's still going to grab, like, a coat or piece of material or something and wrap him in it and carry him out.
Run. You bolt out the back door, run down the alley, and begin slamming on the door. It opens, and you hear the synchronized ticking of a dozen clocks. Why, hello there, Torel. What can I do for... Well, I was waiting for this day to happen. Come on in, he says. As you walk into the home of... As you walk into the clock store of Tarn.
Oh boy.
He closed... You remember this man, but you can't think of why right now.
Okay.
He closed the door behind you. Kitsune. Well, not surprising given where you're from. Shall we? He waves his hand at the door, and a sign spins around saying, "Closed, we'll be back in 15 minutes." As he points you upstairs to what you're assuming is where he lives in this store.
Tarn
Sure, go up
definitely
there.
uses folder magic.
Oh, yes.
And
Tarn don't
gets
care.
paradoxed every 5 seconds.
Oh, yes. He leads you upstairs. Lay him on the table would be best. It's a very ornate room up here. You've never been in here before. You know Tarn from you both go to the same Korean church, and he's an eccentric but nice enough, and You've been in a shop before, but you know you couldn't afford anything here.
Why is that Tarn can walk into a church without bursting into flames?
He accrues paradox for doing it, but
Like I said, every few days he just explodes. Like,
yeah. He points at a table for you to lay on. This table is massively elaborate and covered in very nice dishware. He grabs a towel and pulls it, and all comes crashing to the ground. Don't worry, I'll fix it in a minute, he says as he reaches over for tools.
Cholet, kind of.
Well, there's an advantage and a disadvantage here, he says, pulling out a series of tools. The advantage is he's not vulnerable to silver, so I can use these tools on him. The disadvantage is he won't regenerate like most pharaoh will. But shouldn't be a problem, he says, as he pulls a small knife out and carefully puts a cut into his chest after pulling his shirt up. He begins reaching in with some tweezers. How are you doing today, Torel?
I'm just gonna give him a look.
I suppose there was some sort of disturbance over at your shop? He says as he extracts a bullet and drops it into a very nice porcelain teacup.
tink.
What do you think happened? And it's a studio, not a shop.
Yes, I apologize. As he pulls another fragment of... The ledge appears to have fragmented into him. He pulls another shatter and drops it into the teacup. Yes, regardless. Well, I presume something happened, otherwise your son wouldn't have been shot.
Yes. We were attacked.
Ex-husband, I presume?
Bless you. And yes.
Good. Tink.
You mean good?
Well, he's dealt with now, I presume. You wouldn't let suffer him to live, would you?
No.
Not if you're the Tyrell I know.
No.
You do know the Tyrell I know, right? He says. Tink.
Is it...
How many
is it
bullets
still
were in
coming-
this child?
Just one. It fractured.
Yeah, bullets
Oh, okay.
fracture into about half a dozen pieces when they hit.
Okay.
Is it all still coming back to her
It's all
right
still
now?
coming back.
Okay. Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. It does take a little bit of getting used, doesn't it? Tink. I think that's the last of it. He runs his hand and the wound seals itself. Oh, knife to the throat. How uncivilized. He begins running his hand over. Oh, pardon me. He walks over to the window and opens it. There we go. Come, friends. A pair of birds land on his hand, and he pulls it back in and closes the window.
He starts singing a song.
But the birds
He's
are...
part Disney.
he walks over to your son. If I could borrow this from you, he puts his hand over them, and they begin turning black the same way the man did, and they crumple into dust. He drops their remains in the teacup. He puts his hand on your child's throat, and that same energy infuses into him, and his throat begins to heal back up. There we go.
I don't trust this guy.
Just like Mother taught me. We're going to leave him asleep for the moment. It's very dangerous to wake up in a form like this. Rather unsettling.
I'm sure.
He lifts him up and moves him over to a very comfortable looking, but strangely out of place lawn chair.
I think Kitsune.
And lays him down on the lawn chair. Roll me awareness.
Final Show Films has a running gag with lawn chairs. We have this in the
Awareness perception.
in Afterlight Skies. There's also a lawn chair where my various characters have set up lawn chairs in the cargo bay of ships.
but this launcher is a vampire.
I mean maybe.
One success.
Okay, you're too busy to notice anything.
Okay.
Something strange, but everything is strange. He lays him out on this very comfortable seeming lawn chair.
The chair is vibrating.
If you rolled higher, you would have heard the chair very, very angry.
It's a massage chair.
Sure.
The vampiric lawn chair.
Yes.
Now,
You'd get that.
sit down, have a cup of tea. He says. He waves his hand, and a cup of tea floats over to you, and a chair pulls itself up next to you.
So much vulgar magic.
Oh yes.
Tarn is nothing if not vulgar.
She'll sit
I'm waiting
down
for
and
reality to just rip a hole in itself and suck him through.
Tarn sits down in a chair himself.
I'm sure it wouldn't be the first time.
So, what would you like to know first?
Every few months, Tarn dies and comes back.
What would you like to know first? You're going to have lots of questions. I would love to be of assistance.
What is coming back to her right now in her head?
It's so take a movie about take the Lord of the Rings trilogy and play it so that the whole thing takes place over 10 minutes.
Has it all come back to her at this point?
About half of it. The rest of it's coming. Right now you're reeling because you awoke that way, and you've awoken to the fact that reality isn't reality.
Reality is
Subjective.
Reality is subjective.
Oh, don't worry, I can help with the reality. After all, I'm the only of the Order of Ivana on this island. Vibana, witchcraft isn't as bad as it seems.
What is Ravana?
Vibana, we're in...
He would be.
Would be.
Why wouldn't it?
He pulls the teacup over to himself, magically again,
Either of them are the hollow ones, but you know.
and pulls out
Oh, yeah.
one of the dried birds. Vibana is the art of moving and trading life, he says, and the bird slowly reforms and begins chirping again. Manipulating it. Everything has to come from somewhere. Moving it back and forth.
That thing that you did to the birds, I did it to one of the guys.
Well, not true.
Back at... Okay.
You're always the strongest at your first moment. But you'll need to learn how to refine it and use it, understand the way it works. He raises his hand and the bird goes and flies out the window. He then lowers his hand and the window closes.
Dance, magic dance.
Do you need a nap? He says, pointing at the guest bed where Kai is.
No, I just need to process.
Absolutely.
Like Kai's on a launcher.
He's in a
Oh, launcher. Sorry, he points to a guest bed.
Like Kai's sleeping, or is it Kai's sleeping a vampire right now?
Well, would you want me to stay here, or shall I head down and you can...
No, go down.
Alright. Let me know if you need anything. If you need any, he waves his hand and there's a fridge in the corner. He doesn't actually do anything, he just waves at it. Hey, there's something.
And the fridge appears.
Yes. He walks downstairs, humming to himself quietly. Oh, almost forgot, he says. He walks over to the table, focuses on it, and picks up the dishes, and they reshape themselves as he puts them back on the table. Matter's a very useful sphere, he says as he walks back, as he finishes and walks back down. How long do you sit there?
Just a minute or two.
Okay. Do you check Kai?
Yeah.
He's asleep, but very peacefully. And he seems... You can't even tell if there was injury on him. He's beginning to shift back to himself, too. The fur is receding.
Okay.
He is a hominid.
Since he's okay, she's gonna try to slip out back to the studio to see the aftermath of everything.
You walk down... As you walk downstairs, Tarn looks at you. Do you leave Kai there, or are you taking him with you?
She's gonna leave him there for a little bit of rest.
Alright. I'll make sure he's fine. Don't worry.
Thank you.
At this point, everything has come back to you. But
Okay.
again, it's still trying to recall details as though a dream. You walk back to your studio. You open the door. You walk in. There's a dried up man on the floor. There's a man with his skull cracked open on the opposite wall. And...
A half-eaten man.
no. There's no third man here.
Oh.
He got attacked by a swan. It's hardly lethal.
Yeah.
There is an origami swan on the ground.
Okay.
I mean, swans can be very lethal. They're deadly. And dicks.
Most aquatic birds are.
It's true.
Can you think of how to best dispose
Cover
of
this.
the bodies at this point?
You could ask Tarn for help.
Okay.
You also have someone else for help who has to dispose of bodies frequently.
Yeah, but she doesn't know
No,
you
no,
yet.
no, no,
Yeah,
yet.
not yet.
None of us know each other yet, except for those three.
There's a name coming to mind suddenly. Gilda Smith.
Oh, brother.
Who I've been looking for.
You know her. She works on this island. She has an auto shop over in the Dandan district. It's not far.
Okay. She's gonna start going that way.
Leaving the bodies.
Just leave them.
Yep.
You gonna lock up your studio?
Yes.
I mean, what are they gonna accuse you of?
Killing
You-
2 men.
You lock up the studio.
By
you,
spontaneously dehydrating one of them.
They don't have to know how.
You walk over. It's
This is the world of darkness. Due process doesn't exist.
about a mile walk. It gives you time to think over things.
Okay.
And you reach the auto shop. There's mostly like mopeds and stuff, but a couple work trucks are here. It's a giant open garage. It's a mess. As you walk in the door, there's a little bell. Hold it, I'll be right there. You hear Gilda. You've never been here yourself. You don't have a car, and not much need to go to an auto shop. You know her more by reputation. A woman, short but broad, with a chin that could chisel granite, comes to the door. What can I do for you?
What does she know? Just that this name popped into her
Gilda
head?
Smith popped into your head. She looks very out of place here. She has long blonde hair that's pulled back in a braid, and she's wearing work overalls, and she's got her sleeves rolled up to her shoulders. She's got a lot of muscle on her. She's also got some other weight on her. And she's very clearly not Islander. Like, she's definitely an immigrant, and she stands out for it. But she's lived here for 10 years.
Your name is in my head.
That's a great way to
That would get your attention.
Really? 911.
Really? Usually hope it's one of the big, strong fellows like that. Oh, William comes back here.
Wrong name to think up on the top of your head. Man.
That character's name is William. You'll meet him later.
Alright.
No, there was stuff that happened. And
Hey,
then
what's your name?
Taro.
Oh, I'm supposed to be looking for you. Come on back, lads.
Oh no.
Okay.
Come on.
She'll go back.
So, you're the first. I was expecting a few more. What can I do for you? She says as she walks over to a car and begins wrenching things out of it and putting things in.
Magic.
You're not entirely sure she knows what she's doing, but you don't know anything about cars.
Magic and dead bodies and my son's a fox.
At this, she stops and turns at you. I think I got more than I signed up for. All right. Step back to the first one. Magic, yes. Magic's the thing. Lots of people know magic.
Right.
This is magic, she says, pointing at her wrench.
That
Right.
explains everything.
Okay.
That's going to be magic when I'm done with it, she says, pointing at the truck. But don't tell anyone.
Okay.
How does this truck run? Magic. It's a combustion engine. It's not magic. Magic.
Honestly, probably about 25% of the vehicles in this place were run by magic by now. I've had my hands on them.
Okay, magic.
Yes! Some people call it the art, if you're trying to be subtle.
Dead bodies.
Yes, those happen too. When you're not alive anymore, you become a dead body.
They're in my dance studio.
Oh. Look, I don't have those kinds of connections. Maybe if that Faust character ever shows up, he can help you with it. The name Faust is standing out in your head. You know this Faust.
By the way, whether or not it matters, I've been looking for her the whole time I've been in town, and if I know where she was, that's where I would have been leaving that alleyway to go to.
You don't know where she is yet.
Yeah, that's
because.
I'm still looking. So.
But don't worry. Well, and it was nighttime when you left, so
Yeah.
this is still like 4 p.m. now.
Okay.
All right, next question.
Okay, dead bodies. Fox. My son's a fox.
That I don't know anything about.
Okay.
There's a name for shifters around here, but we don't really get lycanthropes on this island.
Otherworld.
Look, this island is not super lycanthropic. They prefer rural areas. Too much city here. Not enough space to run around.
No, I'm from another world.
Yes, so am I.
Okay.
Hello. Welcome to Earth.
Right.
This Earth, there's a lot of them.
Okay.
Let's not confuse the poor lad.
Your response to the voice from nowhere.
Voice from the sky.
No, that'd be Elrin.
Is this Elrin?
No. Elrin is not a, linebacker woman.
I mean, never know.
She's also, 4'11".
Elrin is another mage who does nothing but vulgar magic.
Pretty much.
I can only imagine he would be an actual street magician.
Yeah.
Do you want to just wait here? I'm sure they'll show up eventually. Usually once one person awakens, they all start to awaken.
Okay. Just gonna sit down for.
Alright, I'm back to work.
In the meantime, can I use
Well, what you see what's going to happen now, fast forward. So you're chilling there. It's roughly, you chill there for a little bit. You're the center of the action all the time, right?
Yep.
You got lost again.
I got lost
on the
trying
way
to
to
get
the bar.
beer?
Yup.
Oh, rats. I had a great way to, get free beer, too.
You happen to be walking in the correct direction. What are the two of you doing?
Somebody's,
Do I vaguely remember him?
You get lost and you find a building burning down.
You remember him completely. You were walking away from that.
Okay.
So there's nobody
What
else
does it
now
take to
that's
heal wounds?
dead or whatever
Life
in
is
this.
Life enough to... Is 3 spheres of life enough to
Yes.
attempt to... Can I try to heal myself as I'm
Yes, you
wandering
can.
around lost? So, ART and life
Yes.
against my wound of hurt. What's the difficulty?
6.
6.
Which
How do
speaking
I
of
only
healing
roll a
folks,
2 on that?
What?
I rolled a 2.
You heal 2.
Okay.
Oh,
Speaking of
which is
healing
enough.
people,
Well, is it that you heal 2 levels, or is it that you upgrade lethal to bashing?
I think as you upgrade lethal bashing. So it basically you turn your cuts into bruises. They'll
Yeah.
Okay.
they'll vanish.
So
over
you
time.
still have those 2 levels of wounds. So the way you delineate wounds in this is a single line is bashing.
Turn that
like
into
X.
Turn that into an X.
An X is lethal,
Okay.
and then
Put a vertical slash through that X for aggravated.
for aggravated damage.
Okay.
Aggravated damage, you can't heal, and it takes forever to heal.
Okay.
Lethal damage heals over time, like over the course of a week or so.
Okay.
Bashing damage heals over the course of a day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Every day you heal a point of bashing damage.
Okay.
So,
So I'm down to
so it's
so,
airhead.
instead of 2 lethal, you now have 2 bashing.
bashing.
Actually, what you would have done is you got 2 successes. So yeah, you would have turned each lethal point into a bashing point. And if
Yep.
you had gotten more, then you would have removed the bashing damage as well.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Aggravated damage heals at like a monthly rate.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Aggravated damage is you lost an arm.
or you got set on fire.
Or you get set on fire. Lethal damage, or hit with lightning.
Yeah.
Lethal damage is
You got shot or
or stabbed. Bruising is you got punched.
Gotcha.
So it's basically Eric life to be able to heal stuff.
Yeah.
There's a specific. I'm sure there's a specific life matter combo in the book, but we'll look it up later.
Yeah. I mean, I basically want to do exactly what he did to Duncan, essentially. So, I'll yeah.
Do you have a focus?
26.
You should have like a medical.
Yeah,
thingy, right?
I have a vote. It wasn't quite explained to me right, or maybe I just misunderstood
I'll go
it.
over how your focus works.
So each focus has to be for one particular
Instrument.
species.
It's a long and complicated process. I'll go over it with you after we're done so that I can explain it to you.
Because I think I misunderstood what it was supposed to be.
I'll explain
but we can
I'll
say
explain
that I
it to you
should
when we're
have
done.
one.
But yeah, you would probably have your focus on you.
Because this is literally my day job.
Yeah. So using your instrument,
Got it.
it's a diff 5.
Yeah. Which would have been 2 successes, but yeah.
So 2 of your lethal damage gets reduced to bash.
Which luckily you only had 2, didn't you?
Yeah.
But
We both reduced our lethal damage instead of dashing.
Alright. So, what are the two of you doing?
First off, I figure out between the two of us that I'm not just going crazy. He actually is experiencing all this stuff too.
Yes, you can confirm that back and forth. And the name Gilda
Yeah.
Schmidt's sticking in your head, and you know Gilda. You've taken some stuff over to her before to get fixed up. You know exactly where she is.
So Gilda Schmidt.
I don't know. Sure.
She's one of the other non-American, non-native, non-Asians on the island. There's very few of those. So you know her.
2%.
Yeah,
You wanna go
2%.
Okay.
For how few of them there are, there's a surprising amount of them in this group.
Yes.
Well, that's because...
Just because you are but some of you are tourists. There's lots of tourists here. There's a lot of visitors here. Yeah. Not many of you live here.
I was about to say, there's 3 people that live here, and 2 of them are Asian.
And most of the hospital people are, immigrants.
Yeah.
So do you go?
Okay, so we go that way.
Yeah,
Do you
we
go to Gilda?
head over there,
Sure,
I guess.
Yeah.
All right.
Just to try to ask
I also kind
questions.
of want nothing to do with this alleyway anymore.
As you,
Oh, the guy that was unconscious, the first guy
Yeah.
that I hit. I mean, I just...
Actually, yeah, him as well. I want to
just-
Nobody's watching, right?
No.
Just.
bring him back, and I want to find out who hired him or whatever.
I mean,
I assume the guy got chased off.
yeah, I know, but I just want to try to question him, see what I can find out from
I'm just.
why he was there and everything.
all right, you wake him up.
Yeah.
I want to.
Unsmash his face.
First off, for the sake of my reputation and everything, I kind of don't, want to suddenly get associated with whatever the heck's going on.
Right.
I'm going to heal him up a little bit, and
He comes to.
yeah, I'll basically put him over there, and right when he's starting to
What
recover,
language do you
I'll
guys speak?
get away from that and just sort of.
So Zach's leaving.
Well, I would probably Swahili and English, I guess.
He begins speaking in a language that neither of you know. But he seems very confused.
But yeah, I have nothing to do with this. Ideally, before he wakes up as well.
Well, I pull out
He's
the note
speaking
and just ask him, just kind of see if he.
He doesn't seem to
doesn't
speak
seem to-
English.
Doesn't seem to know anything about it.
Yeah, he has no idea what you're talking about. He's very confused and very scared looking.
So he was being, might be
You know what you
magically
can use?
manipulated.
You know what you can use to understand people's languages?
Force, matter, and time.
Mind and force.
See, I don't care about
Mind and spirit.
Yes.
Like, he begins to, leave quickly. Like, he's very confused and scared.
Fine.
I mean,
Does he run into a very tall, imposing man in a jacket as he leaves the alley?
the thing is, judging by how far out of our league the crazy punk, green hair, whatever dude is, that guy's not going to leave his name to this sort of guy. This guy,
His mind was
he got
either
some
erased
pathetic amount
or
of
he
money.
was-
It
It could have been mind control too.
Built by anti-mage hunters.
Because if I understand magic,
I'm also
I mean,
good at it because I
from
can
our
just
other world,
Think outside the box.
And
I might assume
all of
that
my
he
magic
was,
is
You could very easily
manipulated.
assume
So
that there
anyway,
was some.
so I follow him and say,
The analytical
you know,
mind allows
this name
for
that we came up
more
with, that was
complex
with
problem solving.
Smith.
Yeah,
Gilda
Gilda.
Schmidt.
Yeah. Do you know where this person is?
Instead of a Rube Goldberg,
You said you would,
wants to kill
wouldn't you?
Did I?
Yeah, you know where she is.
Okay, so
Not
sure.
big on
because I used
Let's
dough.
go.
Best to go see her, I
let's go
guess.
see that, yeah. Okay, so we go over there.
So, you are sitting in this automotive repair shop, so still sort of confused, and in walks.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, this'll help.
This'll help.
This is not a bar.
This won't have beer, but there's something right about it. Something worthy of song.
Oh no.
You see,
If you sing while I'm working, I charge double. You hear from the back.
you see a tall-ish, blonde,
Bloody
Irish-looking fellow.
Irish looking, but he's Scottish.
Yeah, Irish.
Someone's gonna get offended.
Irish-looking, but he's Scottish, and he thinks that he's Nordic. Traces his great-grandfather to having some Viking blood in him.
Yeah, okay. I mean, to be fair, that's the thing you can do as a Scotsman.
The thing you can do is most of the world. It's
He's
either that or Attila.
he is
Or both.
Or both.
he is wearing
Genghis Khan, not Attila specifically, but
chainmail
Well,
underneath
Almost.
badly hand-stitched together cloak with jeans and Timberlake boots.
I like you specified the Timberlakes.
You mean Timberlands?
Timberland, sorry.
Timberlake.
Timberlake is not a shoe.
No.
It's a person.
It's the knockoff.
The knockoff Timberlands is Timberlakes.
Timberland.
Picturing shoes.
They're like Timberlands, but they retain way too much water.
Made in
He's
China.
got a cloak, and is he carrying an axe and a?
Why are you asking
Horn?
us?
Yeah, you're just somewhat confused.
It's
by
not the weirdest thing you've seen today, though. So.
No.
No, not yet.
it ranks about fourth, maybe.
Yeah,
Um,
dinner was third.
Gilda walks out and looks at you. You dress as crazy as Eldrin does when he's in a different world.
Different world.
Don't even worry about it. Apparently you're the wrong person. I'm sorry, I thought you were a friend of hers. Apparently she has better taste than that.
Let me tell you a story.
Oh no.
He starts to regale a mighty battle, an epic quest between good and evil.
William?
Yeah.
That's when Akuma walks in.
Yeah, so just this white-haired individual with these angry red eyes, just kind of hands in pockets with a very slight slouch, just the I'm here because I need to be. And this long, overflowing great coat, and this vest and long sleeves. This exuding martial arts movie villain.
Does Taro recognize
And
him?
so then the man with
Yes,
the
no.
green hair and the
Yes,
demon
and no.
arm was a standing
Why are
there.
you here?
Oh, you finally
A
wake
great
up
story
fast.
for me to tell you. Let me
I don't
start at
wanna
the
hear
beginning.
Gilda?
And your name? Tall, dark, and imposing.
Gilda. Gilda the Gildan.
That's definitely a name
A
that is true,
craftswoman.
yes, but the people around here tend to call me Akuma.
Gilda the good meets
You
the
would recognize
devil of
Tara.
Japan.
She says it like as a question.
A little bit. It's still...
Great, everything's falling together just like it should, except we have a nut job on. At this point, you walk in the door.
I pull up my
So,
tablet and start like typing up some notes. I'm always like keeping stories.
The leather jacket is currently unbuttoned with a flaming
You are
skull.
far from the most outlandishly dressed person
Oh yeah,
in here.
no, absolutely not. Like, with I've got the flaming skullfuckers T-shirt on though. So
You rank a solid third.
You've got the band logo here and the leather pants and shoes and step into the door. Oh yeah, it's that guy.
Ah, the anonymous hero. Tell me a name that I may tell the world of your
So have
conquest.
do I have any memories of former life? I may have glossed over that. I don't remember if I ever.
Not yet.
Yeah.
But as you see Gilda, something's twitching in your head. You're supposed to know her. You're supposed to.
Do I recognize?
This is Gilda. You. Roll me
Well,
awareness.
I say. My name's Galadir for whatever.
Oh, he says Galadir, and
Oh, yeah.
so yeah, you immediately know.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to find a Gilda.
That'd be me. Oh, another skinny one.
So, your name came up in some research I was doing.
Right. She walks over to you. She, like, how tall are you?
It's 6'3".
So her head comes up to about your stomach.
Yep.
Could you lean down for a second?
I crouched down.
She smacked you across the face with a wrench. Like, it didn't leave, like, it stings a lot. You suddenly feel very odd.
I mean, it's not the first time that's happened to me.
Didn't think that would work, I just wanted to try it. Galadir. So,
Are we sure this isn't Elrin?
No, this would be the
Is this
one
Elrin's sister?
No, this would be the one that kneecaps people.
no, it's not.
No, Gilda was a name that was mentioned before we came here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Look, you're special. You come from another place.
Yeah.
You're untethered. That ring a bell? The word untethered triggers something. And calm and collected, you begin remembering things. Just easy as you do.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, that makes sense too. Okay.
Feeling that he's not getting the full story context, I'm gonna. Eric is going to try to use his mind powers to reach into whatever these people are awakening into and try to pull the full story into his mind.
Oh no!
Roll me mind.
Who are you?
And roll well,
who are you
please.
talking-
Mind and
first.
Aerte?
Yeah,
or
mind and Eric. Who are you targeting?
him, because he's the one who just like looked dazed and different.
So you know what'll happen if you let him.
What?
You know exactly what'll happen if you let him, actually.
Do I?
Yeah, this is not a thing that people who aren't
Remember? You experienced
Oh, yeah!
it.
Oh, yeah! I specifically experienced this. I'll let him.
Succeed, please.
A 10 explodes.
Directive. Here.
I only got one success.
Here, open the folder for you. Click.
He lets you in. So, you see flashes, and by the way, you saw a lot of places because you did the thing with the stick.
Yeah, yeah.
You see flashes of about half a dozen different, what you would assume to be fantasy realms, but as though you're seeing them through your own eyes, and your mind snaps, and you become dazed, and you collapse on the ground, gibbering.
Does the fact that I have only one intelligence limit the amount that I...
No,
So that makes it worse.
I'm still crouching down next to Yoda, just like head tilt over, down. Is that what I looked like?
No.
No, that's not what I looked like.
She walks over. Must be real slow for it to be having that kind of effect. Right, there's supposed to be two
Well,
more.
I mean, he did see like a dozen or so places, so.
And you walk in the doors.
I look upon the
Party.
fascinating group of people.
Yes.
The Viking on the floor.
The Viking
We've seen him.
Oh, it's him
a while
again.
ago.
Oh, hey, it's you two.
So what happened to this guy?
He decided to look into my brain.
Oh, first things first, you're all here now. She reaches into her pouch and pulls out a group of dog tags. If you could all put these on.
Oh no.
I mean, it goes with my aesthetic.
You can wear it under your clothes.
What?
Why?
She's talking to the
Talking to
dancer.
me.
Oh,
She hands one to
I
each of you.
take it. What does it say on it?
He doesn't say anything.
I look at mine.
Both sides.
Once you put it on, got your name.
I put it on. What does mine say after I put it on?
Has your name. It says
Okay.
Dave Tarasu.
Okay.
Dave Tarasu.
Can we see that?
Is it actually Dave or is it David?
It says Dave Tarasu.
Can we look at it?
It says David. It says David.
Okay.
Tarasu.
Look over. David Tarasu? That's
My
great.
parents were
That's great.
immigrants to the United States. They wanted to give me a regular name.
Cool. That's
It didn't quite work.
Akuma takes it and pockets it in the vest.
You need to have it around your neck.
Why?
Because it'll keep Esmeen out.
Fine.
She is the most powerful mind mage in the world, so far as I can tell.
Yeah, she is.
That's okay.
He puts the dog tag on and then immediately puts the actual label under the shirt.
You can tuck it underneath. You don't have to.
Yeah.
Look, I've been working on these for years. And I'm pretty good at making things, I might add. By the way, you immediately recognize the way that she's doing things in the work around here. She is 100% a daughter of Ether.
Nice.
Okay.
So
You begin to come to. You don't remember what just happened, but you feel like you got into a fight and it was probably a great one.
How many did I take down?
you killed like 30 guys. By the way, would you mind go getting some coffee? I really like a triple espresso.
Gilda walks up to you and hands you a can of cheap beer.
Ah, a worthy victory.
Don't worry about it.
It doesn't matter.
How much more is there?
She opens up a mini fridge. It's nothing but beer.
This
Everybody-
is my kind of place.
Everybody roll me awareness perception.
I feel like this is his standard stance as well. Like
That's
this-
Gallader's standard stance currently.
Perception. What's aware? You mean alertness or
No, awareness.
Where's
Awareness is that one.
Oh, I see. I don't have any of those either.
Is it awareness?
Yeah.
That's a double explode.
I got
Two.
2.
Okay.
Two.
3 successes.
Two.
Explosion.
5 successes.
I'm assuming difficulty 6.
4.
Yeah.
Okay.
So all of you can notice pretty quickly from the way she pulled that beer out and the fact that it's still full that this is magic fridge of endless beer.
Yay!
I really need one of those.
Eric starts singing a drinking song and is gonna just drink till he passes out.
Cool. You notice that it's a branding wise, this isn't a cheap beer can, but this is some nice beer.
Can I use time and prime to make him get drunk faster?
100%. Roll me stamina. Is there any drinking stat?
It would probably be.
Well, can I just
It's
use matter?
typically just
no,
stamina.
just to make it like a 200%. Like just go ahead and kick it
Yeah,
up a
it
notch.
would be just stamina.
Okay, yeah, you can both do it. Yeah, roll me
Just-
just straight stamina to stay conscious.
Just go with matter and
Yeah.
change it to rot.
And
Yeah,
I would
gut.
say if you have life, you might be able to innately add life to it.
I'm not really sure he minds being
No,
drunk.
you're just gonna be. We're just gonna knock you out.
5 successes.
2 successes.
You're very drunk very quickly. But you remain conscious.
Well, hang on.
2 more successes here.
5 successes
You're,
and then
you're,
2 successes.
you're very drunk, but you're still sort of conscious. But,
No.
you know, whatever you hear is whatever right at this point.
At this point,
I'm just mostly trying
I
to
get
stop
past
singing.
the singing drunk phase and into the just go with it drunk phase and plop down on the nearest armchair and just go with it.
That was
Good.
the
Okay.
intended objective.
That was.
All right, says Gilda.
Just like black suit.
Suppose as she closed, she says, walking over to the gate and pulling it shut and putting a sign up. Sorry, we're closed right now. Right. So,
Long shirt.
you've all figured out who you are, right?
I mean,
Yeah.
who I
Galladier,
am in addition to, yes.
Galladier, the very uniquely dressed. Torel, the, from what I understand, rather vengeful dancer.
Alright.
Faust, but Akuma, right?
In this place, yes.
And then over here, what have we got? She says, looking around. We've got Mr. Tarasu, who's
Doctor,
normally...
technically.
Ooh, Dr. Tarasu. I do like him smart. But no offense, honey. This is the main course! She says, looking up at Duncan.
Okay.
I can see that. I can see that.
She's about a middle-aged woman. She, to be fair, about as broad as you are. Just not
Okay.
all muscle.
Alright.
And not as tall.
And
No,
4'11".
That's
Like,
my favorite thing.
how tall are you?
I'd be like 6'2", 6'3", something
6'2",
like
6'3",
that.
okay.
Just like getting the hand on the face, just really.
Right. But,
And I'm Eric. Eric the Skull, the hero of Norse myth.
Eric the drunk, go to sleep.
I don't remember.
Act 2.
There's a message behind your eyelids.
I'm not. Yeah.
well,
All in all, he's the tamest drunk I've ever had.
I suppose at this point,
Faust, you can call me that.
it's time to fill you in. And that's where we'll pick up next time.
Okay.
Say bye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.
Farewell.